I'll try not to swear too much.
Nah, it's perfect. It's fine.
No, because I swore too much in
The
one I did with Tom.
The military men together, like.
Yeah, so only certain people are going to be watching that.
But yeah, that's fine. Like, I haven't listened to it.
I think, but listening to myself, I'm like, fuck, why am I carrying on?
Because
like
Tom
that?
was swearing, and then you just retaliate.
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
the same thing. If I'm in a group where people are like, "Yeah, fucking," I'm like, "Whoa, it's fine," and I'll do it way more than I usually do.
Yeah.
And I get you, but swearing's okay.
Action.
I was thinking about that. I was like, "What are we?" Cool. All right, the master of puppies, Will. How you going?
Good. The master of puppies is
What else?
here
What else is he?
in the building.
The slayer of guitars.
Yeah.
So gay. Cool. Very happy to have you on the podcast. I've had a few people recommend. No, what's the word? Request you specifically because you're a very popular fella, but you don't really say too much. So I'm hoping you spill the beans today and give me some good juicy goss. But we'll start off with, how old are you?
I am nearly 42.
Old
1982 baby.
Love that for you.
Yes.
Cool. And do you have any siblings?
I have 3 other brothers.
Yep.
So I am the oldest. And 3 younger brothers.
What are their names?
They are, I'll go from me to the next one, So it's myself, Peter, Brett, Jared. They all live over different parts of Australia. One of them is in the military, soon to be getting out soon after he finishes his 20 years. He is a bosun's mate in the Navy.
I was going to say it's a Navy term.
Yes, it is. And he's currently working at the ADF jail or the prison.
Oh.
Yes. So yes, they have a prison. They have a jail.
Wait.
That some of the people that misbehave in the military go to.
You're going to jail. You're damn.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know that.
People wouldn't. Yeah, most people probably generally don't. I mean, you've seen all the shows like NCIS and all that sort of stuff. So they've obviously got military police and that.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, he works at the prison. Not that really much goes on there.
Yep.
I mean, there's always 1 or 2 people there. That it's not like it's full or anything like
Just
like the normal jails.
Yeah.
But it is very interesting because my dad, he used to be a military police. Wake up. And look, they don't have the best reputation. Not many people like those sort of people.
Usually for a reason.
But I remember he used to tell me to never, ever try and go there or get in trouble and go there because it's not a great time. It's not like you just sit in a cell all day. Like.
Or what, you get worked?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
fucking do the crime, pay the time.
So when I was at Holsworthy Barracks in the army.
Was this when you were younger?
No. This is like when I
Were coming out?
was coming out of the military. We actually, because we've got a couple of MPs, so military police that worked with us at the dog cell.
Yeah.
They actually organised a tour for us
to
go down there. Yeah.
Like,
so we sort of got to see. I think there was 1 or 2 people in there at the time.
Yeah.
Not that we really saw much there, but they gave us a bit of a walk around of how it all starts, what they do, what they do for their time there. So depending on what you've done, like normal jail, depends on how long that they are there.
Do you know what kind of things they're making them do?
So pretty much I know, this is just off the top of my head, from what I remember, but when they rock up there, they pretty much what you sort of call sandbag them. So they just get surrounded by heaps of people, heaps of yelling, heaps of pushing and shoving.
Yeah, damn.
I think they sort of, when they bring them in the front doors, there's all this carry on going on. They bring them up really closely to a wall, and then I think they take some of their clothes off. I don't know if they get naked or anything, but they give them like new uniforms or their new stuff.
Yeah, right.
And then they sort of just, put the pressure on to show.
You're a number now,
We run the show.
Hell.
And look, if you don't comply, you stay there longer. So you sort of have to, comply with what they're getting you to do. Otherwise, you fucking stay there longer and they just make it more miserable. you know.
Be fun for them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it would because they don't really do too much when there's no one there.
So how long has your brother done that?
He's, I forget how long he's been there now, but he's done it before as a posting, so like 2 or 3 years.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, he enjoys it. It's pretty easy because generally he'll go to sea on a ship for however many years, and then do his shore time, and he rests and hangs out with his family. So it's a pretty easy gig for people that generally work there, and especially if you've got no one there. I think he's sort of just on call sort of thing.
Yep.
So I could be wrong there. So yeah, but anyway, so yeah, they go through that routine. Now you got your own little cell, and this cell has to be pretty fucking smick.
Yeah, right.
Like all the time. And I know, like there's certain ways you got to measure your bed and
measure your bed.
Like when you make it, everything's got to be measured,
like
and
this
all that sort of stuff.
Bed.
Like
yeah,
certain measurements. There's
I'd fail that immediately.
Again, they're going to be like tucked certain ways, and probably hospital corners, and if there's no lint and shit on your bed, and it's going to be straight.
God, in a jail.
All that sort of stuff. Everything's going to be cleaned. Obviously, pretty Mickey Mouse. Otherwise, which I think they do, even if it is clean, they probably just trash it.
Yeah,
and make you do it again.
Pull the corner out. What's that?
So yeah, I think they get not just that. Like they'll probably trash your place.
Yeah.
But I think they get up really early generally, and they go through that morning routine, and they've got all these lines all around the place.
Lines.
So, like different color lines.
To like follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got to request permission to do things. So if you need to go to the toilet,
can I change lines?
Look, I don't know how bloody true this is, but I know they do this, but I don't know if when the guy that's serving time in there goes up to a line, request permission to go to the toilet, blah blah blah. Yes, approved. And they go to the next line. And then they go through all the different steps, and they get to the end, and they go denied. Look, I don't know. People need to go to the toilet, so I don't think they're going to hold them back from doing that. But I'm sure if someone's been a real prick to them, they might do things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they do classroom work, they do PT, and they had a lot of silverware in there.
What the?
Like yeah. So I think they got them, like, if there's not much going on, they polish things.
Scrubbing the floor with the toothbrush.
Yeah. I think they do shit like that.
What the heck? It's horoscope shit.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just burning time and getting you to do, boring ass things that.
Something you've never been.
Exactly. Which I can see how you'd be like, okay, I'm not fucking coming in here again. I'm gonna be well behaved from now on.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was pretty cool to see that and meet some of the people working there, and just get a little bit of an insight. They do have a padded room there too.
A pad or...
Yeah, I don't think that gets fucking used.
Apparently you can go insane in those, like, because they're too quiet.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard things like that. When, like, there's like soundproof rooms where it's like too quiet.
Hear
and
and heartbeat.
People sort of go a little bit nuts
It'd
with
be
it.
kind of nice though.
Be cool to have a look. I'm not really, claustrophobic or anything like that.
Love that for you.
With that sort of thing, but yeah, it'd be good to see how I would take something like that.
Hell yeah. Cool, some big tangents. So
yeah.
Your brother's still doing that?
And so brother's still doing that.
What's your other siblings doing?
The other guys, so Pete is up in Townsville. I think he's working for one of the big companies, like Woolworths or something like that.
Oh, yep, nice. The old Ville.
Forklift driving and all that sort of stuff behind the scenes. And my other brother is one of the managers for Coles down in Brizzy.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Doing his thing there.
All spread out, all doing different things?
Yeah, we're just, living our lives.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk a little bit about what you do?
Oh, what do I do?
Yes.
You know what I do?
No, you explain it to the people. They have no idea.
All right. So what do? I train dogs.
Yep.
I am now, have been for a little while, a dog trainer.
Yep.
How long have I been training dogs for? I think...
Yeah, when did you get out?
I got out in 2019, but Master of Puppies has been going longer than that. So I become a handler in 2014.
Yep.
So I've been working with dogs since 2014. So that is now 10 years.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, 10 years. I've been working with dogs for 10 years now.
Good.
Master of Puppies started, I'm pretty sure, in 2014, just half-assed.
And for those people who don't understand the reference.
Yes. So I was with a friend of mine and his wife, and I was oh no, he was getting tattooed that day, and I just come in to visit because I introduced him to the tattooist that I knew.
Nice.
That used to tattoo me in Sydney, and old Todd Bailey in Sydney. Check him out.
Do you know his Instagram handle?
Yeah, no, I don't off the top of my head.
We'll put it in the video if we can find it.
But I know he definitely has a big following.
Yeah,
He's
sick.
Obviously a pretty good tattooist. But I was talking about starting up my dog training business, and I didn't have a name, and I didn't know what I wanted to call it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one to choose, eh?
It's very hard because I didn't want the normal, pawsome this, that
Woof
sort
this.
that sort of shit.
Yeah.
I wanted something a little bit more unique that sort of stands out a little bit more, and I was just really stuck.
Yep.
And we were just me and my mate's wife were just chatting. She's like, because we're always we're into the same bands and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Where he's really not into all that sort of stuff. So we obviously kicked it off, talking about bands and stuff. And she's like, look, leave it with me. I'm generally pretty good at stuff like this.
Yeah, nice. You're like, you do it, I'll just sit back here and chill.
And so thanks, Katie, for coming up with the name. But later on that night, she sent me a text. I'm pretty sure there was a couple of them, but Master of Puppies was one of them. And I was like, oh my God.
That is it.
How did I not come up with this? So Master of Puppies is a play off Master of Puppets from a Metallica album back in the day, maybe, this is going to test me, 1980, I'd like to say 8?
We'll fact check that.
Yes, I could be wrong. Oh my God, how do I not know this?
Under pressure.
88. I know like in 1990, I'm pretty sure Black Album come out. So it was just then Justice for All, Master of Puppets, whatever. Anyway, so it should be around that time. Just as I was starting to get into Metallica, that's when that sort of...
Yeah, hell yeah.
Anyway, I'll talk about that later.
Big fan.
But, she sent me a message late at night, and I'm like, oh my God, that is me. That's me. And I had a look on Facebook and Instagram and all that sort of stuff, and there was no. I think I just looked up the website and Facebook. I don't think I really had Instagram back then.
Yeah.
But none of them were taken. I was like, this is it.
Yeah, this
is
is
a bloody sign. How is this not taken? Even though there is a Master of Puppies, like there's some dude on in America.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's an American thing.
Yeah, but he's only got like, I don't know, maybe 1,000 followers, maybe. And
we've got nearly 10K.
He doesn't really post too much.
Yeah.
I was actually going to send him a message and go, hey, mate, can I buy this off you? But I got my MOP HQ, so who really cares? My HQ, that's fine. Anyway, so that's how it sort of all started, went from there. And I actually remember seeing, I was seeing a gig one day and I was talking to a bloke and he saw, because me and my friends, we went and saw, I think it was Fear Factory. Yeah, I think it was Fear Factory. And we wore a couple of my shirts.
Hell yeah.
And one of these guys comes up and he goes, oh my God, that's awesome. He's like, man, I've got a job that comes up with, what do you call them? Little taglines for company names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll come up with one for you and I'll send it to you. I'm like,
you're like everyone,
all right, no worries. Anyway, 10 minutes later, he came back and he goes, obey your master. And I'm like, oh my God, how the fuck did I not think of this?
Yeah, the OG shirts have that on it.
Yeah, the old school shirts, which I'm gonna do more of those once I've got some,
definitely
more cash coming in, because we have had a fair few people from around the world contact us, and I've actually sent a couple off, but I don't really have any of those anymore.
I don't have one.
Well, there is none left. There's none left at the moment, so I will get some.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, so he told me that, so I got that on our shirts.
Yep.
And I also, around the same time, got my car printed.
Yep.
With Master of Puppies in the Metallica writing, and then it had like the paw with the crossbones, and then Obey Your Master underneath it.
So sick.
It was pretty sick, and obviously got lots of looks from that.
You were in Sydney?
Yeah, I was in Sydney then, so obviously got lots of looks from that. I remember, off the top of my head, I forget his name. He's in a band in Sydney. He's a comedian as well.
Oh.
And he was driving past me one day, and he's like beeping and putting the horns up and looking at the car. And he actually sent me a text or a message on Instagram later that day, and he's like, hey man, I took a picture of your car. I know one of the cameraman for Metallica, and all the boys know about it.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, awesome.
Like, this is my dream. This is my dream.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for the bloody phone call to stop, using our bloody logo. I mean, we're in a small-time dog training business. Who really
in Australia, like.
Exactly. But I ended up wanting to go away from that look altogether. So I did not get rid of that branding because of an email, which I know some people, I see in heaps of comments online when people see the picture of that. I didn't take it away because of that. I took it away because I wanted to go out on my own and have my own logo and all that sort of stuff.
Build it up.
Exactly right. But Kirk Hammett from Metallica actually posted a picture of our van on his Instagram page.
That's
so obviously he's got a bit of a following. Not that we got too much followers from it, but we definitely got a lot of messages.
Yep.
And in his comments, and even on around the world, a few radio stations saw that, and then they were commenting and leaving, doing articles on it, and sent us a few messages.
Like, I was famous, no biggie.
Yeah. So, and even to this day, I still get people send screenshots of seeing it on certain pages and stuff like that.
Awesome.
But one of my good friends, he actually met Kirk Hammett in Hawaii, and he knew that he was going to meet him because he was doing a meet and greet.
Oh, right, okay. Not just in like public,
Yeah, because Kirk Hammett actually lives in Hawaii somewhere.
Must be nice.
Yeah, and my mate Shane actually went and wore my shirt and got it signed, and he was telling me that when he was meeting Kirk and he was shaking his hand, Kirk sort of looked down at his shirt, looked back up at him, looked back at his shirt. He's like, "That's fucking cool, man."
Yeah.
and then he turned around and he signed his back on his shirt.
And you're like, well.
So obviously, yeah.
That lives.
He's definitely a big fan. But yeah, that's pretty much how I. And
you
Katie
by yourself
came up with that name. Yeah,
community collaboration there.
Yeah, exactly. So I was pretty happy with that. But there's obviously a lot of people don't have a clue what it means.
We get a lot of
generation.
A lot of people go, "Oh, you think you're the master of puppies?" And
yeah,
like, no,
some people. I mean, we do have a hater online that pops up every now and again on Instagram where she forget her name. I'll care.
While he's talking, let me find it.
But have a look. I think Kim maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
But she keeps this lady keeps sending us random messages here and there saying how much she absolutely hates our name.
We love our haters.
Hates everything that we stand for. So she doesn't like us helping people with disabilities. Then she doesn't like helping people with mental health. She doesn't want any dogs to be well behaved. Apparently, so she hates everything that we believe in.
You do you, girl.
But she obviously doesn't know the understanding of what it is. We do get some people get a little bit confused.
Kim Hill.
There we go.
I hate your page and what you stand for, and even your stupid names. Master of Puppies, F-U, and she spelled F-E-F-F.
Yeah, look.
Thanks, Kim.
Don't even bother sending her any messages or anything.
No, don't send her anything. Just reply in the comments and build the engagement.
I always every time she writes something nasty like that, I just write back something very, very positive to her, and then she generally stops replying. Because, people read what you write back, and
yeah, I mean,
back in the day I probably would have been a little bit pissed off. I don't really care now. Like, it's not bothering me.
No, we're about the Instagram algorithm where we can just feed off.
Yeah, I mean, that's good when people sort of have their own little arguments, but look, I don't have time to get involved with that shit.
Nope.
I think it's ridiculous, and most of those people, as everyone already knows already, are fucking cowards and would never do it to your face anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it used to sort of grind me, but now I've got over that.
You're a dad now, you're calm.
Even if it's not her and it's someone else, and someone writes something, I couldn't give a fuck, to be honest. I've got better things to do with my time, and that's generally why I don't even read the comments anymore.
I mean, if anyone knows Will, he's barely on his phone anyway. It's very hard to get a hold of him sometimes.
Yeah, so sorry to everyone that, contacts me on my phone.
It's fine. Never mind.
Messages me. Mate, I see the message and I'll get back to it later, and then I forget about it. Yeah, look, I'm bad with my phone, and generally when I get home, I like to put my phone away.
I think that's a good habit to be into, especially these days. Everyone's kind of, even like my watch, I'll get notifications all day long. So
that's why I don't have a watch, because I don't want. I even have people when I'm training. Sometimes
they'll do that.
They get a message and they're constantly looking at their phone because it's buzzing. and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm
Hello,
here,
hello,
I'm here,
hello.
I'm here. So that can be a little bit annoying. So that's
Yeah.
why I don't want to get one of those.
I got mine for steps, and it's been pretty good for that.
I mean,
and
that
like,
would be good
and
for that.
sleeping, but yeah, it's very like I think you can turn the notifications off, but it is very annoying.
I do really like. I was in the surf once. One of the boys got a phone call while he was surfing.
Through his watch.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
And I really liked that. That
Yeah.
was sick.
It can also
But that's the only thing.
It can track you when you surf too, so it tells you like your GPS. If you like look down at a picture of like Kira or something, you could see where you'd surf.
Cool. Yeah, sweet.
I like that stuff.
I mean,
yeah.
I think he had it because he was on call. So,
He's like
if he was
I'm
surfing,
10 minutes away.
and even if he miss it, he could, oh shit, I've just got to miss call, and he just call them back out there. Oh, I've got to go in.
Wow.
So that's the only reason why I really want one. But I suppose you go surfing to get away from all that sort of stuff.
Correct.
But if you're on call, then it's obviously a really good thing.
It's a bit cheeky. You found a way.
Exactly. But there's no way in hell I'm going to get one of those phones. Watches.
Yep.
I'd rather just have my phone, and you can just put it away and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely not going to get one of those, even though they are pretty cool.
You're not in the club.
sense.
I mean, at least you won't get a horrible watch 10 like we all have.
Yeah, look, I like the old school G-Shocks. I love those watches.
Oh, yeah.
They're so durable. They last a long time.
That's kind of like what this Garmin is. It's a little bit like a G-Shock,
pretty much.
just not the same branding.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like this screen, you could smash rocks against it and it won't break.
Yeah. I mean, I used to wear a watch all the time, and I don't even know where my watch is.
Oh, hell.
So, but yeah. So back to me.
Yeah.
Back to me. It's all about me.
Didn't even have to tell
dog
them
training.
any
Yeah. So dog
prompts.
training. So yeah, 10 years now. So it's been over 10. Oh, maybe just over.
Yep.
Because I transferred over to the Navy. To the Army from the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
I finished my commando course in 2013 November.
Yep.
And then I would have been on dog course maybe March or April. I'm pretty sure from memory. So
Yeah.
coming up 10 years. So yeah, I was a handler, and then I knew I wanted to sort of go the pet direction. I just always sort of had it in my head.
You like see a hole in the market, or like was
Yeah.
there certain people in your life that
I think the big one was getting into dog training or pet dog training is helping the people.
Yeah.
I sort of like that effect that I've seen, how people's faces once, I mean, you've seen it many times.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
They'll
cry in their sessions, yeah.
People crying in their sessions, or, like 5 minutes in and they're like, oh my God, I have a new dog.
Wow. Yeah.
Like 5 minutes in. And that's obviously happened many times before. Not every time, but it happens a lot. And you're just like, this is just the start.
The tip of the iceberg.
This is like nothing.
Yeah.
But I love that feeling that sort of brings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I really like working with like behavioural modification and working with dogs that, trying to bite me, trying to bite you, trying to bite dogs,
everybody,
other people, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I see, obviously they are a challenge. Some of them can be very challenging.
But I think that's where the fun lies. Hey, not the fun, but like it's very interesting to kind of see a problem, and not every dog is the same way to fix it. It's all a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I really like obviously get a kick out of seeing the difference, even if it's over months, weeks, days, that day, the changes in the dogs and the confidence in the people.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I really like about, training in that sort of world. I mean, yeah, the working dog stuff's really cool. I really love that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm not into agility, but I do like it. I think it's awesome, but it's a whole new world of dog training, which I don't have time for. Even though I'd love to, I think my dog dude would thrive in PSA. That's
oh yeah, Australia. You would kill PSA.
I think he would love
agility. Charlie and Marvel do agility, and she's really good, but she's very I think sometimes too tapped for it. She'll be like, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, PSA though, like you should just come out and just one time.
Look, I'm definitely
just one time.
I'm definitely glad that Pat Stewart brought that to Australia. It is really cool.
Yeah.
And he did ask me a long time ago, like he sort of wanted me to get involved with it, like very long time ago.
Yeah.
Before it actually came to Australia, but I was still in the army then. I didn't have a Mallee or anything like that.
Yeah.
And, but look, I do like it. I went and saw the comps last year.
Oh yeah, the ones Canungra?
Yeah, Canungra,
Yeah.
yep. And you know, the community that it is bringing with the dogs and the people is awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm a big fan.
But I just don't have the time at the moment for it, you know, with
That's all right.
my
Bree will
family
do it
and
for you.
work.
Bree will do it for you.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, one of the girls is doing it.
Yeah,
so
literally just
I can
started.
I can still get into the community. I mean, I know a
100%.
few of those people.
I mean, I don't even have a PSA dog, and I'm still going, so I can kind of just see what it's about and learn a bit. Because
Yeah, exactly.
you can always learn more.
But I just, yeah, again, the big one is just time for me.
Yeah.
With that. But yeah, I'd really love to do that, and I'd really love to get dude into flyball.
Yes, how cool
I would
is
love that, but again, I don't have time for that either.
Sorry, we'll take him.
Especially the days that I'm like working, and you know, then I've got, you know, like training for other things and
You got a pretty
like that.
busy schedule.
Yeah,
already,
yeah, it is. Like my work days are planned for a reason to work around other things.
Yeah.
So to do any of those other things now, I'm taking time
Shuffle
away
it.
from family, and it's, you know, so it is hard. I've definitely got an awesome dog for it, and I think again he'll do really, really well.
He's a freak of nature.
He is, but he's
awesome.
I mean, he's happy doing what he's doing now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I would love to do all that. I love the dog world. I love all the different things that you can do with dogs. You know, we're slowly starting to tap into assistance dog.
Yeah, which is
the
a big
world,
field.
which I'm still trying to get involved with the
Government.
Queensland government. But, you know, anything government, it's slow.
It's a long
No one
time.
wants to help you. And it's a hard industry to get into because no one wants to help you.
Yeah,
Because
and
they've already got their own little niche area.
you've got a lot of people that have kind of requested that, like veterans and stuff.
Yeah, well, we get lots of people
Yep.
all the time trying to hit us up about getting their dog qualified as an assistance dog.
Yeah. Mainly for like emotional kind of support.
Mainly for, yeah, like mental health
Yep.
sort of things. Like I'm working with a lady with cerebral palsy, which is challenging. Hi Tamar, if you're listening. She's a really lovely lady. A lot of veterans, a lot of kids that are autistic.
Yep.
Like I had a young girl the other day. So her mum rang us up and said, my daughter really wants to train with you guys, but she needs to come out and meet one of your trainers to see if she likes them or not.
Yep,
Because
yep.
if she doesn't like someone,
work.
she's just going to walk off on you.
Who did she meet?
So she met me. So
And did she stay?
She stayed. So I made her feel really comfortable.
Awesome.
Just like I normally do.
How old was she?
I think she was 12.
Yeah, awesome. What a sweetheart.
So, maybe a little bit older. So I get lots of 12-year-olds in around 50. Yeah, so maybe 12 to 15.
Yeah.
But she came in and I sort of just made her, you know, at ease a little bit. And
Yep.
she said, look, if you don't like me, you just tell me, or you can walk off, and
Yep.
then I can get one of my other trainers, you know, to
That's
work
really
with you as
sweet.
well, you know. So, but she just had a bit of a laugh and she was fine, and she's a bit of a country kid.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
With a little Jack Russell.
Oh.
They got heaps of cattle dogs, so they have property.
Yep.
They got a farm, but they wanted a little robust dog.
They're
And
as
definitely got one.
robust
They
as you can
definitely
get.
got one. But apparently that dog's a little bit spicy and doesn't
alright.
listen. But you know, nothing that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, she was pretty happy, and she's going to book in. And I was like, have you seen our YouTube? You can work with any of those
There's
trainers.
so many on there.
Exactly. But I think she's gonna book in with us. She's pretty happy.
Love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we're working with heaps of kids like that, which I mean, it can be challenging. Not too much. You sort of just adjust yourself to how
Yeah.
they're feeling. And how
I
they're
like
going
doing
and-
different sessions, like different dogs, different people,
Yep.
a lot of wheelchair clients too.
Oh yeah,
where,
yeah.
a
heaps
lot of
wheelchair clients,
places kind of go, oh, sorry, I can't really help you. And we're like, all right, no, we can help you. We've just got to figure out a way, like,
Yep.
how we can do it and
Yep.
what will work for you going forward.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of those people have found with going to other organisations, because especially, well, Australia-wide, I suppose, but Queensland, they're very strict on it, having a qualified assistance dog, and only a certain amount of people can do it.
Yeah.
But with these organisations, which I'm finding out, because I've called a few of them and trying to get information, they don't want to give me anything.
Love that for
It's
you.
like, awesome, thanks guys, we're in the same industry and don't want to help, no worries. But, you know, it's not about that. It's about helping other people.
Correct. It's always about, helping people, isn't it?
But, you know, you get into that industry to help people, but I think a lot of it comes back to business for some of those companies now.
Yeah.
Not all of you, so don't bloody crack the shit and abuse
No, come for him.
But from what we're getting, and I don't give a shit anyway. But again, I'm trying to find information out on these, and no one wants to help.
So if anyone works for the government, you can help us out.
Even I rang the Queensland Services, the assistance dog people, and they said, "Oh, you just got to fill out this." And get back to us.
Yeah, they did.
Fill out all this information and get back to us. Okay, no worries. Can you just help me out with some questions on this? And like, no. You just fill it out and then we'll tell you if you have pass or not.
Cool.
And I was like, oh my God, like, this is not why you're here.
No.
You're here to
help.
There should be more people trying to get into this and help, but I can see why there isn't too many organisations that are doing it because they're making it hard. I get you've got to make it hard for people to get in and have a standard.
But not impossible.
Yeah. So, like, in a way, I've not given up on it.
It's taken a back burner at the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, look, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to help a lot of people qualify assistance dogs, I can't because these people aren't helping me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is really annoying to...
We can do like half of it, getting them neutral and all that kind of stuff, getting them ready for that part of it, but I guess the qualifying will come later at a point where we can actually bloody get some help.
Well, the qualifying is the easiest
bit,
you know what I mean? Go do the PAT test and walk them around in public, go through a shopping centre, take them up some escalators, whatever. That's the easy bit.
Yeah.
The hardest bit is training them, but also a lot of these organisations, what I'm seeing is they only want to use their dogs that they breed, obviously because they make money out of it. So where a lot of the people that we have had, and you've probably had this as well, is they've got these particular dogs that they have for a reason. You know, like some people are allergic to dogs, but they need this certain dog. But then the dog breed that they have, some of these assistance dog organisations don't want to work with them because they have that breed of dog.
Yeah, it's not included in what they qualify.
Exactly right. Yeah. So you can't everyone can't just have fucking Labradors.
No.
You know what I mean?
Some of them need poodles.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of I think you saw a little while ago, and I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but she has a small little foxy dog.
Yeah.
Where she needs that dog to, jump up on her, and she's a big lady. She's in a wheelchair, so she can't be working with a big dog. No. She needs this smaller dog. So, if she does have to go up escalators and stuff like that, she can just get the dog to come up and jump on her, so the dog's not getting in the way, and just things like that. For an example. So that's pretty much the assistance dog stuff.
Yep.
So we'll see how we go with that. Mm-hmm. Look, I would have liked to have gone to the working dog world because that's sort of the bread and butter, and I love doing that.
Yep.
But it's very limited.
Yeah. More business with pet dog owners too.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of pet dogs out there.
But there's already a fair few organisations around Australia that do, the working dog sort of stuff anyway.
Yep, like developing them and breeding them and stuff.
Development. There's heaps of ex-military guys that are doing that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Not that I was scared of, stepping on their toes or anything like that. Definitely not that. But I just, loved and was intrigued more with the pet dog sort of world.
And I think it kind of opens people up to, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it opens you up to people that you wouldn't usually be accessible to. So a lot of people come to our headquarters and they're like, this is fucking sick, all of this, and they see all the, army stuff you have on the wall, and it just kind of gives people an insight into a world that they kind of wouldn't have insight to anyway. Not that we're doing military stuff, but they get to hear from someone that's been in the military, has worked with, those kind of dogs.
Yep.
And it's just a bit more experience than a regular dog trainer would have.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I also think sometimes, not that I'm trying to push that vibe, but sometimes we get, we saw your logo and we really want our dog there to, go into boot camp and get his butt kicked. It's like,
we'll kick your butt.
that's not really what I was going for there.
Yeah.
Obviously the logo is a dog saluting, it's just, obviously there's a past behind that.
Need to get back to the crossbone.
yeah, because I was in the military and I was training dogs, but it's more of a professional, representation of us.
Yeah,
because that dog is saluting. He looks proud. He looks, rock solid and professional.
Yep.
That's what I want. It's, obviously we're working with all different types of dogs, from Chihuahuas to Cavoodles.
Yeah, it's all different.
Working, medium-sized dogs to large and extra large. So obviously we're working with everything, but yes, having that, I think a lot of people do like to seeing the background of where it all started and what I've used to do, because I know I have the confidence to work with any dog after working with those types of dogs.
Literal assault weapon of a dog.
Exactly. Exactly. When we get, and again, so it's the same as you. Like all the trainers' confidence levels go up and up and up all the time. And
I think for me it was very interesting because I used to work for council and I used to work with declared dangerous dogs quite often, but not in the same way that we do. It would be we have polls and we have sedatives and we have multiple people, and then you come to work and it's this dog's on a halter or a lead or a collar or whatever, and
you have to work with it.
You have to figure out a way to get that behavior to stop and also not lose your fingies while you're at it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is very, and I've worked with dogs since I was 12 and I'm now 30, getting old. But I've learnt so much just in the short amount of years I've been working with you, like how to do stuff differently. It's just awesome.
So I think very much coming from the army and working with those particular dogs, has obviously my confidence is up there when I'm working with,
Is there any breeds that spook you?
Any breeds that spook me?
Or that you don't trust?
Not really.
I've got one.
I mean, there's definitely... What's yours?
Shar-Peis.
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't know. I do not trust them.
I do like Shar-Peis, but they're just spooky.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely challenging breeds out there.
Yep.
But no, not really any dogs that sort of worry me too much. Look, I know, obviously the Mallees, they can be, they're
spicy.
Super quick and very spicy sometimes. So you got to, try and obviously they can be very bloody dangerous because obviously they will fucking bite you and they will hurt. That will definitely hurt you.
You've been bitten, but you had a story of when you got bitten when you were in.
Yeah, so I got bitten by one of the dogs at work. It was on the weekends cleaning the kennels. Me and one of the boys, it was our time to go in and clean the kennels, let them out, feed them, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
It's all part of being a handler. We swap every weekend. You have to go and then, look after them. But he was the last dog of the day. He's a dog that really wasn't getting worked anymore, and his handler was away on deployment.
So he's just going nuts.
And he'd been away for a long time. Look, this is just what I'm putting it down to.
Yeah.
He'd been away for a long time. He wasn't really getting worked. Yes, he was obviously getting out every day, but he wasn't getting worked like all the other dogs.
Well, dogs like that need their brain bloody stimulated.
Right. Exactly. But I took him out. He was having a bit of time, just going to the toilet and just
you were in the same yard, eh?
Same yard.
Yep.
But I could see him as I was cleaning his kennel, because the kennel leads out into the yard as well.
Yeah, right.
And I was cleaning his kennel, finished, cleaned it all up, and then went outside to go get him. And I was like, I called his name and I was like, heel, and he started heeling with me, as they usually do. And then he sort of just stopped as I kept walking.
Weird.
And I'm like, I turned and I kept walking. I'm like, come on, mate, heel. And he just looked at me and he growled. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Hell.
Uh-oh. I mean, I have not done anything here.
Yeah.
And I was in my uniform.
He was
as well.
off lead, hey?
He was off lead.
Yeah, cool.
Which they generally always are when they know us. So this never happens, ever. But I was in uniform, so obviously our dogs are taught not to bite anyone in that uniform as well.
He must have skipped that lesson.
Maybe. He's just like, fuck this guy. He's telling me to heel.
I want to heel.
And I was like, come mate, heel. And then he just growled. And then I sort of turned towards him. So I was facing him, and then he just growled, and then he launched at me. Then I just started taking a few steps backwards.
Yep.
He bit me on the leg, and then I just thought as fast as lightning. I've never thought so fast in my life. So as he came higher, because our dogs taught to bite high, even though he went for my leg, even though that was
maybe it was weird. The closest
that
thing.
was definitely the closest thing, because as I sort of stepped backwards, obviously my leg was out. But he ended up coming up, and I sort of just gave him my forearm. I intentionally sort of just let him come up and bite the inside of my arm.
Yep.
Because as soon as he did that, then I put my hand like
Me
jitsu.
You're dying now.
Jitsu to bloody working dog.
That's great.
So he got on the arm straight away. My other arm came underneath, and
Yep.
I just headlocked him. And because we teach our dogs to bite in and in and in and in,
He wasn't letting go anytime soon.
well,
Yeah.
he couldn't because I kept pushing his mouth into my arm. So he could not move around. He could not shake his head. He couldn't do
Yeah.
anything. So I was holding a fair amount of pressure. And he was one of the bigger dogs that we had at that time as well. So
Of course he
pretty
was.
big dog. And anyway, so I had him on. I took a knee and I sort of just
Waited it out.
Waited there. At the same time, I'm yelling out to one of the boys to fucking come help me.
Hello.
But at the time, he was getting the food ready.
Oh, so you could
Which,
hear.
again, is totally normal.
Yep.
He's inside just getting the food bowls. I'm yelling out his name. He couldn't hear me because I was sort of at the back of the kennels. So I ended up standing up, walking like 10, 15 meters just so I could get around the kennels a little bit, so I could see the windows in the office. And then I started yelling out to him again. Like,
You're just making eye contact.
Calling his name. And then he, I won't mention his name because he's still in, but he comes around the corner. He's like, "What? Like, what are you
like this?
Why are you yelling my fucking name?" And then as soon as he said what and saw what was going on, he's like, "Oh fuck!" I remember that. And then he came screaming over. And we sort of just, talked through it really slowly. Okay, just put the lead under. So we got it because he had his lead on around himself. Got the lead, put it under his neck, and then just choked him off really slowly.
Yep.
And I knew I had to take my arm away really slowly like this, because I knew if I try to take it away too fast, if he bites down again, he's just going to rip my skin. So I saw him sort of chattering because he was losing oxygen. Chat, 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 and then I just slowly took my arm away. He kept the pressure on with the lead, and then I got on the other side of that fucking fence as quick as I could. Because even after he clipped him up, he was still wanting to go me.
Just you?
Just looking at me, just wanting to go me.
Must have been a vibe.
And then after that, he put him away.
Yeah, nice.
So then straight away we went straight up to the doctors on base.
Yep.
And it could have been way worse.
Yeah,
to be honest,
you can't even really see
You can't even
anything.
see it. Obviously, I've got tattoos here, but even if I didn't have tattoos,
was it a few punctures?
Yeah, it was like a big bite and hold mark.
Yep.
Because of what I did.
Yeah, you kind of set
held
yourself
him,
up for success. You went like, oh my god.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
I was pretty lucky there, and again, I was thinking very quickly on my feet, and even when I was moving, I was making sure I was pushing his head in, and I'd move, and so forth. So could have been way worse, because if he just came off, and then he could have just kept biting.
We had a dog like that at council. It would bite and rip, and it ended up biting one of our kennel hands actually right in front of like this whole line of people waiting to get into council.
Yep.
And it was a very dangerous dog, and there's a whole story behind it. But it bit her, and then the vet who was with the dog just grabbed its head and just held it on her arm. And obviously not ideal because it kind of bit right down to the bone. But if she had taken her hands off of its mouth and its head, it would have just tore all the meat off her arms.
Exactly.
It's the same kind of, it reminds me of the same scenario.
Exactly, yeah, it sounds very similar.
The bookie.
So, yeah.
That dog got euthanized straight away, though.
Well, yeah, look, this dog wasn't around much longer after that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Look, and obviously when the dogs come out of their career and they're finishing up, they don't get put down. They go through an RSPCA test.
Yep.
Which is, to be honest, pretty pathetic. What they do.
Yeah.
Like, there's one where they bring a little doll out.
What, to test for children?
Yeah, they get it, which,
Where's the real?
I get it.
Where's the sacrifices?
I get it. You can't just bring a real kid into it. And they use like a fake arm to do all this sort of stuff. It's absolutely pathetic, and I see some of those people are pretty useless at what they do, and I think they've really got no idea and don't really have too much experience.
I agree with you there.
I'm not really bagging those guys out with this anyway.
Yeah.
But probably could be done a little bit better. But most of the dogs that we that get rehomed are really good anyway, so they're pretty social dogs.
Yeah, well, that's like Googe is Googes with Steve.
Yep, exactly.
All those kinds of dogs.
Yep.
Stable and sound and in society.
Yeah, exactly. So they know how to switch it on and off when they
Yep.
need to, and they're the dogs that we want, not shit dogs that are just losing it at everyone's.
That won't heal and then take your face off.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely a good dog, that dog. Obviously when he was in his prime, but
Yeah.
Every
dog has a day.
Issues. Yeah. Yes, he
Yeah,
did. That was his day.
Not yours.
Yeah, not my day. No,
Easy.
no.
So we've gone a little bit over Master of Puppies and kind of how it came about. A little bit on your siblings. So let's get a little bit into your childhood. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh hell.
Nah, there's not too
So
much.
kind of what kind of upbringing did you have? Kind of set the scene. Like, where were you born?
So look,
Parents.
I was born in Frankenstein, in
What?
Victoria, in Frankston. I call it Frankenstein because it's a little bit of a shithole.
Fair enough.
It's got a bad name. Look, it's a beautiful place, but there are some bloody ferals that live down that way.
I feel you.
Look, I don't live there anymore, so I don't really care.
Yep.
But every time I mention where I'm born, people always laugh at me. So
Oh.
I think I was born, and then like a week later, my parents moved up to Townsville.
I love that for you.
Yeah, so I grew up in Townsville
Yep.
a little bit as well. But yeah, so that's sort of
Not really too much better, eh?
Look, I actually really like Townsville.
Yeah.
I've
I
got a
do
sweet
too,
spot
but
for it.
certain parts.
Yeah, I know
Yes.
heaps of people hate on it, but honestly, I've always liked it.
Yeah.
If it had surf there, I'd probably live there.
Oh wow.
To be honest.
You're damn.
Because I mean, it's you can go camping, go motorbike riding.
You can do a lot
not
out
too far
there,
away. You can do all that cool stuff.
Yep.
But it doesn't have surf. And I don't really want to be swimming in that water with crocodiles and jellyfish and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So, but I've got family up there,
Yep.
and I still like going up there. But yeah, look, I'm not one to complain on my childhood and how shitty sort of upbringing. Not the worst, not the best.
Yep. So like both parents were around.
Not really.
So you said that you moved to Townsville when you were
I moved
born.
to Townsville
Yeah.
when I was born, not long after I was born, and
Yep.
then my dad was, from memory, I think he was out of the Navy then. He
Yep.
was in the Navy, then he got out because he was a chef for a while, and then joined back up the Navy later on.
Yep.
But yeah, they had problems for a while.
Happens.
And then exactly. So that's why I'm not complaining too much because I could have had a way worse childhood without going too deep into certain things. But
Yep.
they ended up splitting up. Wasn't the greatest breakup.
Yeah. A little bit hectic.
Yes.
Yep.
So I had a fair bit of time living with like auntie and my grandma.
Yeah. And you've mentioned your auntie in other podcasts, like Tom's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she's been a bit of a inspiration, I suppose, and someone that I've looked up to
Pillar of strength.
my whole life since
Yep.
I was younger.
Yep.
And obviously she's always been there and still is.
Yep.
And her mother, that I have tattooed on my
Oh, rock on!
no,
Wait.
so she's not with us anymore, but another person that I truly looked up to
Yeah.
a lot, and obviously looked after me with all that sort of stuff. And,
Yeah.
look, my parents were really young when they had me, and when they were going through all this sort of stuff.
It's a bit hard,
Times
especially
were a
if
little
you're
bit
that
different
young.
back then as well. So I think we sort of got palmed off. to
And so,
some of
like,
our other
how
family members.
old were you when you went with your auntie?
Honestly, I don't even know.
Were you like high school age?
No.
Primary age?
Maybe even younger.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
younger.
Yep.
But I think it would have been definitely younger. And then my parents, they split up. My mum moved back down with her family in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of getting looked after from memory with my dad, but obviously with my grandma and my auntie a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my grandparents used to own a shop up in Paluma, if anyone knows where that is. It's about an hour away from Townsville North, up in the mountains.
What kind of shop?
So it was like a sort of like a fast food shop,
Oh, nice.
but you could there was accommodation there as well.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
So if you ever go up to Paluma, I think it's now a church or something.
Oh, heck.
Unfortunately. But Yeah, so it's a shop and you can't miss it because there's a guy, I think his name's Speedy Pete, where he's not alive anymore, but he did all the painting for it.
Oh,
So the whole
sick.
building is like a mural of rainforests and Australian
Oh,
animals and all
nice.
this sort of stuff.
Yep.
So if you ever go there, my step grandfather, my dad and his friends and stuff like that, they actually built the place because he was a builder.
Hell, so
So
there's
they
a lot of
built the
history
place.
there.
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of history, so they built it from scratch. So there's pictures of me, I'm there,
Like
not
hanging off the rafters.
helping, but like I'm there throughout the building process. There's me
Yeah.
fishing in little buckets, for the little magnet fish and stuff like that, and riding around on them on motorbikes.
Yeah,
and so
hell.
there's heaps of pictures from them, but yeah, I think they lost that place because I think there was a pretty big cyclone that came through
Oh,
for a
heck.
while.
So kind
And
of
then
like
no
the
one was
recent
going out
events
there.
then.
Yeah, sort of like that. So they went bankrupt and couldn't afford to pay back. And I think that went
Yeah.
on for a while and no one was going up there. I can understand why, because it's just a windy ass hill all the way up and obviously heaps
It's
of trees.
hard when it's
fall and
rural.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that was that. And I think I had, my other brothers, my two other brothers at the time. So one of my brothers is from another, like my stepdad,
Yeah.
my youngest brother. Then I think after a few years, we ended up moving back down. I think I did a couple of years at school in Townsville. Then I moved down to Melbourne with my mum for a fair while.
Yep. I mean, are you close with your mum?
Yeah, yep. So she lives in Brizzy.
Yep.
So she'd met someone in between then, my stepdad, and we ended up living with him and her, and then they had a kid pretty much when we moved back down there. So that's Jared, our youngest
Yep.
brother. And look, any man that takes on a woman and another three kids, you got to sort of
That's
take
quite
your
a
hat off
man.
to him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then especially treats you really well and looks after you and all that sort of stuff. He was in the army, so he's a bit of a hard ass, old school army guy back then. So a bit of yelling with the army voice and all this sort of shit.
Is that what
Things
inspired
have
you?
to be, no, it definitely didn't, because
You're like,
I
"Get a
don't want to
army."
fucking be like this. But anyway, he's obviously done good by us even to this day.
Yep.
So I definitely, appreciate everything he's done. Maybe not at the time back in then when I was going through my teenage
You
years,
wildin'.
being a little asshole.
I mean, everyone
but
does
everyone
it.
goes through that.
Yeah.
That's normal. But obviously, I'm very close with him these days, and
Yep.
I obviously call him whenever I need to.
I mean, he's there when you need him.
Yeah, he's very much been a father figure throughout those times, because
Yep.
I think I started grade 3 when I was down in Melbourne.
Oh,
And
wow.
then sort of went through
Little baby
the
Will.
years. Yeah. And then we moved up to Brisbane. I think when I was in high school.
Damn, been all over.
Yeah. Well, every 2 years we'd move.
Yeah,
so
right.
sort of always all over the place. But he eventually got posted to Brisbane and pretty much stayed there.
Yeah,
And
because
finished his
he's
career
in Brisbane now, hey?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not in the army anymore, but
Yeah.
he did his 20 and finished as well.
Damn.
So no, it wasn't really an inspiration to join the army or anything like that at
Yeah.
an age. I didn't really think too much of it. Even back then, when we were living near all the army bases, like you can't do it these days, but me and my friends, we would just cruise on, go use the pool.
Oh,
The
really?
security guards would just let you through.
Love that for you.
With your bicycles. We'd go into. We always used to go into like the sergeant's mess and stuff like that, and just raid their lollies.
Jeez.
Play around in the gym and
Yep.
stuff like that. But no one cared.
Different
I don't ever
day.
remember
Different
getting
day.
telling
eh?
off.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what are you doing here? Never. I do not remember that.
A little bit more relaxed.
Yeah. Well, that was at. That was the Melbourne one.
Yeah.
And Whatsonia Barracks there. And my grandfather used to be in the army.
What did he do?
He was a Vietnam vet. He was a cook in the army. So
Aye.
yeah, he knew a few people on there as well. So
Lot of
it's in the family to be in the military, but it
Yep.
wasn't really anything I was inspiring to do at that age. Then what happened from there? So I ended up moving up to with my dad after that by
So you
myself.
went from
'cause I
your
think I was being
mum's to your dad's.
yeah.
Yep.
So back to my dad. It was just me because I was being a pain in the ass.
You
Not
never.
that I was that bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not like I was bloody, murdering and
I
stabbing
mean,
people like they are
sometimes
these
it's
days.
just parents can't handle a certain thing, I guess. Like, the kids aren't actually that bad.
Yeah, well, especially with 4 kids, they
Yeah.
probably just wanted to get rid of one. Make life a little
Lighten
bit
the
easier.
load.
But yeah, ended up moving up with him. Look, he was in the Navy then, so he was always away.
Yeah.
Always away. So I'm home
By
by myself at 14, 15,
Get into strife.
16, doing whatever the hell I want. And his girlfriend at the time,
Yep.
bitch,
Shut up.
she was never there anyway,
Oh.
which is
So
a bit
literally
odd.
by yourself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, damn.
Yep. So I think she was just in it for, like a
Money.
green card. You know what I mean?
So was
I'm
she a
pretty
different-
sure that's sort
was
of
she
what
Asian?
happened. No, she was German.
German?
No
Oh.
offense to Germans, I know I've got a good few German
Assholes
friends,
not-
but
I mean, I'm German.
but yeah, she was just she was a bitch.
Yep.
And didn't look after me at all.
That's
So,
right.
not that I really cared.
Nah,
Like,
you're doing your own thing.
I was out all the time, doing my thing, hanging out with my friends, and so. But when he'd come home, he'd probably put the smack down a little bit. But yeah, it was good times. But yeah, then after that, sort of going through it very quickly. But my auntie knew that I wasn't really doing too well at school
Yeah.
because she came home. She met me at home one day. Goes, "Oh, how was your day at school?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it was pretty good." And she's like,
she already knew.
No. I just got a phone call off your principal and you haven't been for like 2 weeks. I was like, "Oh, yep, that's me."
You're like, so I'm called out.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Okay, look, how about I offer you, do you want to come to America, work in a ski resort, because I'm going to be the head chef of the place?
Yeah.
And do you want to just come wash dishes and maybe do your apprenticeship for being a chef?"
That's so sick.
And I was like, "Yes, I do."
I will do that.
Yes. So anyway, I went over there to Soda Springs, California, which is near a place called Truckee, which is a little town. Anyway, so I went there and worked at the cross-country ski resort there. And you had to ski in 5Ks to get to the resort that was.
Damn, so you'd been fit.
Yeah, sort of.
I should, I eat the food and then I ski.
Yeah, it was a cross-country ski resort too, so I think it had like over 320 Ks of
That's a lot.
of tracks.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it was like the largest one in North America.
Yeah.
So yeah, I worked there. I was only young then, but that was.
So yeah, what age were you when you went over to America? You still
I
like
think
16?
I think I was 16 then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Went over and did that. There was 4 women chefs there, and my auntie told them not to take it easy on me.
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean,
she
that's a
did-
fair request.
She didn't really want me to go in the industry, and I'm
Yeah.
sort of glad that she smashed me on those trips, or on that trip, because at the end I was like, no, I don't want to do this shit
hate this
anymore.
forever.
Yeah. So I thought I had a little bit of passion for food back then, but nah.
Do you cook?
Nah. No, I don't.
What a
I
waste.
mean, I can, but it's very basic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not there to impress anyone, with my cooking.
It's survival, not for
Exactly,
enjoyment.
exactly right. Yeah. Look, I'd have Begorian noodles and bloody tuna if I could. I love that. I actually love that. I crave that sometimes.
What is wrong with you?
But it's not something I'd eat every day. But
Yeah.
Anyway, I did that, came back, and then I went back to school, started grade 11.
You're right.
Wasn't doing great, didn't really want to be there. And
I mean, it's hard when you've gone from that to school.
exactly. And look,
It's not going to happen.
like, a lot of people, not everyone's, great with school.
I feel that.
I sort of like the social aspect of it and, maybe the sports and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah. So did you stay when you went back for grade 11? Or did you just
I
go
did a little
again?
bit of grade 11 and then
Not for
I
me.
ended up joining the Navy.
From grade
So
11.
Yep. So my dad, I don't know how I got in with the grades that I had. I think I had a C in English and a C in maths, and that's all I needed.
It's a pass.
And all the rest were like D's and E's.
Damn.
I know.
Yeah.
I must have just talked my way through that.
Like it was wrong.
I mean,
Anyway.
not because I'm stupid, but just because I just did not follow through with anything.
And I think as well, like, especially if you're left to your own devices at that age, like, I know if that was me, do it, by myself,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have, school was hard for me, so I wouldn't have applied myself. I would have wagged like you did and not done it.
Yeah.
Didn't have that option. I had to bloody do the boring shit, but like, even looking back on it, like, I wish I got out much earlier than
Yeah.
I did. It's not for everyone.
But I mean, look, if I yeah, again, if I probably had someone there pushing me and helping me and that sort of stuff, and pushing me to do better, and
We got
someone
solid
to look
Bs.
up to, then maybe I would have, maybe.
Who knows?
But I never had that, so I was sort of, I feel like I've sort of, been on my own, just defending for myself.
Yeah, well, I mean, you literally were.
Yeah, obviously could have done it a little bit better, but is what it is.
I think did your best. You're still alive.
I was thinking about here on the way. I think it took me a while to mature up. I'm slow at maturing, like a lot of guys are. Well, girls are a little bit different, so.
I mean, yeah, sometimes.
But yeah, so my old man pretty much said, look, he came home one day. He's like, here's a pamphlet. What do you want to do? Have a look at this list.
Yeah.
Here's a direction you can possibly go.
Is this your dad or your stepdad?
Dad.
Yeah.
I was living with their dad at that time. And I said, clearance diver looks good. And he's like, oh, well, let's go have a look because they have an open day in like a week or so.
Yeah.
So I went to the dive school in HMAS Penguin there. They had an open day. I saw, a few divers running around, saw a few cool little things. I was like, yeah, this will be cool.
Yeah, sick.
I was only just like nearly 17. So I was like 16 and a half or whatever at that age.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, immature. So I ended up applying, went through all the process of applying and, physicals and psychological and all that sort of stuff, and everything was sweet. I passed. I was like, oh my God, how the fuck did I do that?
I did it.
And I remember actually one of the teachers back in the day that gave me that C especially for maths and English. I remember I said I was thinking about joining the Navy and all I need is a C in this and this.
Do you think they kind of gave it to you a bit?
I think, I honestly, and I forget the names, I've got no idea who they are, but I think they just did that to help me, to be honest.
Yeah, that's nice.
I think they sort of felt sorry for, so whoever you guys are, thank you very much, because I wouldn't be here. If I didn't get those, I wouldn't be, would I? I definitely wouldn't be. So thanks to those teachers, I was able to join the military.
Love that.
So I joined up as a diver in '99, and
Jeez.
Yep, long time ago. I joined up as a diver. I went to recruit school. I didn't really like recruit school, to be honest.
How long did that go for?
10 weeks.
Okay, that's not that long.
What's that?
That's not that long.
No, that's just the recruit school. So you just go there to learn about being in the Navy.
Yeah, okay.
And just to see if you're, able to be
suitable.
a sailor, I suppose, and be suitable for it. I know, like at the end, generally everyone, buys shirts with your division that you're in and everyone's names on it. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to buy that shit. It's the last thing I want to buy is that crap.
Yeah.
A little bit different to what it used to be back then to now. I don't want to go too far into it, but holy shit, the military has changed these days.
Yeah.
I suppose the world has, with the people.
It's so different.
We can talk about this a little bit later. I mean, this does have things to do with mental health, really.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I joined. I had a really cool room of people that I was in. I think there's 8 of us. And a lot of those were going another direction that I was going. So
Right.
they were going the bosun's mate way. So what happens is when you're a diver, near the end of your recruit school, actual clearance divers come down and they do like a weekend with you where they sort of flog you a little bit and
it's like right
do
along.
a little bit of diving. So I went and did that. And again, like I was talking about before about being a little bit immature for my age, there was a bit in it where we had to go for a dive and clear our masts and done some of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd never done that sort of stuff before, and I didn't really like it. And we were in the fucking freezing cold water in bloody in Hastings in bloody Victoria, where Cerberus is, HMAS Cerberus is, just diving off the wharf, and it was murky water and freezing cold, and anyway, it just didn't go well for me. So I ended up cutting it away and put my transfer in when I was in recruit school.
Right.
Again, still 17
Yep.
at that age. So I actually went with all the people that was in my room, which I was actually stoked about.
Nice.
And I'm actually glad that I actually went that direction, to be honest, to start with. Now that I look at it, I wish I actually joined, obviously, straight away as a bosun's mate.
Yeah.
Because it was a good insight of, being in the Navy and learning about it. And at that stage back then, a lot of the ships were doing, trips overseas and actually doing shit and going away.
Yep.
Like you think you would do in the Navy. And so there's heaps of opportunities to go overseas, which as soon as I finished my, we call it like category training.
Yeah.
As a bosun's mate, as soon as I was qualified, I was posted to a ship straight away over in Perth, and on HMAS Canberra, which is not around anymore.
Dang.
That particular ship isn't. There is a HMAS Canberra, but not that one.
Yeah.
So that ship is now under the water, and you can actually dive on it. I don't really know where. I forget.
Oh hell!
But it'd be cool to do that one day. But
You're like, hello.
We did heaps of trips with that, and that was super fun.
And did you so the people that you in that room with, they were all bosun mates with you?
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there probably would have been about maybe 15 of us, not in that room.
I was like, what?
That were going that direction.
Right. Okay.
So I was already close with them. So I was just going somewhere with my best friends.
That's fun.
You know what I mean? So it was really cool. And it was a really cool job because it's sort of like a general hand for everything.
Yeah.
So you do maintenance of the ship, so painting and all that crap.
Just a handyman on a boat.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's interesting.
You do all the gunnery sort of stuff, so
Yep.
you look after all the small arms, weapons, and all that sort of stuff. You do all the seamanship,
Seaman.
evolutions. Yeah, so I don't know if you know, but ships can replenish fuel and stores at sea.
Yeah.
With other ships.
Yeah.
So I used to be able to help organize and put all that together for that to happen.
Oh, cool.
And I actually used to love doing that.
Yeah.
Once you sort of get your head around it and know what you have to do, it's actually really cool. So I used to love doing that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Driving the ship even,
Sure.
that sort of stuff,
It's gone super slow. Eight on boys.
So the steering wheel, no shit, was smaller than my hand.
Smaller?
You're
looking for something
sort
the
of
same
just
size.
a little bit. Well, yeah, a little bit bigger than the Coke can, the top of it.
What?
Yeah, it's just
None of
really,
these
really
big
small.
baddies.
No. And when you use it, you actually use your finger just to turn it.
Yeah.
And then you just go off the gauges that are that you're looking at in front of you. Obviously, you're getting told what to do. You're not just fucking driving, freestyling it. But yeah, the steering wheel on that particular ship was really, really small.
Yeah, right.
So which was
interesting.
which is really cool. But anyway, so lots of time in that bloody seat. But yeah, so I did that for 4 years, I think it was, and it sort of ate me up a little bit that I didn't join. That I didn't go through the clearance diver thing.
Yep.
So whenever anything like that happens, I have to fucking get it done.
Naturally.
You know what I mean? It beat
Brain
me.
won't let it rest.
It beat me. I need to beat it.
Yeah.
And I've always liked that sort of stuff. Growing up with Rambo, Predator, Commando, all those sort of
Will in
movies,
the water.
and all those, like Van Damme and Arnie and Sylvester, all those sort of things. I always had a fascination about all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm going to be a clearance diver one day.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. And then on the ship, we had clearance divers that actually worked with us. They were posted to it.
Many?
No, only one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
So I obviously got, not fascinated with them, but fascinated about what they did. But then really looked up to them because they lived in the same mess and everything with us and become good friends with those guys as they sort of came and went with their time. And still friends with them to this day.
Yep.
And they sort of pushed me to go that direction as well. And ended up, training up. And
Was that hard?
Yeah, it is hard. It's a lot of people struggle because they don't like being wet and cold.
Yeah, and so
I get that.
for people that don't know what clearance divers do you want to explain it a little bit?
So clearance diving is a pretty cool job, which involves a lot of obviously diving.
No way.
But different types of diving.
Yep.
So you've got your tactical diving, more commercial diving, and then you've got diving and looking for unexploded ordnance or just ordnance itself.
Yep.
So it's all about just sort of clearing areas
Making
in the
sure
water,
they're safe.
in the ocean,
Yep.
wherever, rivers, whatever it is, making sure that they're free of explosives. Because potentially if you go to war one day and they need to get, like landing craft ships in or boats in, that needs to be clear so they don't blow up.
That makes sense.
So one of the jobs is to clear particular areas so boats can come in and don't get blown up, and then they can drop troops on the ground.
On the
essentially.
shores.
Exactly. As well as getting rid of unexploded ordnance that's left, wherever it's left. The tactical diving is more the counter-terrorism sort of stuff.
Yep.
So, dressing up and looking all badass and
like ghillie suits and stuff.
Sort of.
And shark
dressing up in all nighttime sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah,
that's
it
cool.
is. So, you're cruising around with could be 20 plus people underwater with all your poles and caving ladders and your guns and all this sort of shit.
Underwater army.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's sick.
So that's another thing that I went into later, but there's heaps of cool stuff that you can do as a clearance diver. The commercial side of things, like welding and
underwater welding is just fascinating.
Well, I mean, it's not much to it.
Yeah.
It's really not much to it. It is actually pretty...
Yep.
Not that I'm a fucking awesome welder, and to be honest,
we've got a welder in there. Let's go.
Not that too many of the boys are amazing welders.
Yeah.
Because they don't do it enough.
Well, I guess underwater doesn't really.
Well, it's not that, like, it's just like normal welding. You're just underwater.
Yeah.
But welding is an art.
Yes.
It's not like you think it's easy, but to get it fucking perfect.
Trust me, I've tried.
Yeah, it's definitely an art, and that's why they do apprenticeships with it.
Do you know what kind of welding that they were doing under the water?
Look, you're fucking asking me a very tricky question right now because it's been such a long time.
MIG, TIG, stick.
I know we've used all of them, but off the top of my head, I don't really know, and I'll fucking cop shit for this.
Called out.
But no, I do not right now because I'm just going to lie. And if I say the wrong one, I'm going to look like an idiot. So I'm not going to say it.
We love an honest man.
I'm going to own up and say I don't fucking know at the moment.
Doesn't even matter.
But anyway, it was cool fun. It was cool fun. So yeah, that was that. So passed my selection for clearance diving.
Yeah.
And yes, a lot of people fail it. Well, especially back then. It's all changed these days.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to go too far into it.
A lot of boxes that need to be ticked.
Certain people have changed things along the way and made it a lot easier for certain people. There's been times where they've cut the selection away, then people have got through, then they've brought it back, then there's these people that haven't done selection, then there's these people that have done it.
That's a bit messy.
And now I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I've got no idea. But
you're out, it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, it used to be only a male thing, now it's a female thing.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know any of the female clearance divers these days that have done it. I don't know the story, if they had selections or not selections, whatever.
You'd hope they're holding the same standard though.
Look,
yeah,
and I'm sure most of the boys would agree with me, if the fucking person can do the job, sweet, they can do it. But if they're lowering standards to let these people through, then that's fucking bullshit. Because there's been times where we've had to fucking save people's lives. People having accidents underwater and having to bring them up. And, it's hard enough bringing up some of the fucking big boys with all their kit on.
Yep.
And doing whatever you have to do on the surface, then having to get him in the boat, then having to get him on the wharf or another boat, and then get him into a bloody ambulance or a helicopter or something like that. There's a fucking process. So, if you're stuffing that process and you can't get someone up to the surface, you're going to fucking kill that person.
100%.
So it sort of pisses a lot of people off where these idiots that are just sitting in an office and making these decisions and have no fucking idea. They're not on the ground, but they're happy just to, let things slide and lower standards.
Well, they're compromising everyone's life in a way if you're doing that.
Well, exactly. But look, that's their problem now. I don't do it anymore. Hopefully, none of those guys ever get hurt and that never happens to them.
Yeah.
But it just sucks that shit has to go that way just to make, these...
Good old government, hey?
Exactly. And obviously it comes from the top. Oh, mate, you can talk about this all day. But again, even some of the girls have tried to go the SF these days.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is a thing. From my time in there has been no girls get through, but there possibly might be now. I'm not really sure. I don't really care. I don't keep up with the times. Again, if they can do it and they pass it, fucking good on them.
Yeah.
They deserve it. And
Glory to
there'd be
them,
heaps of chicks out there that could do it. I mean, have a look at all these bloody CrossFitters and these
there's a
Olympians
lot of
and all this sort of stuff.
buff chicks out these
Yeah,
days.
exactly. But yeah, again, if they can do it, good on them. No dramas with it. And I'm sure none of the other boys too, as long as nothing changes when you're out there.
Yeah.
You're not suiting
Like
things
you earned
just
your
to suit them.
spot, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I know there's the whole toiling situation and all this sort of stuff and all that sort of shit. But look, I've been in Malaysia doing some training with the commandos when I was in, and I was back to back with a female doing a poo in the bush. Like we were holding.
What you were like holding it frontwards or backwards? I need to know.
Backwards. We were back to back. I think we even touched butts.
Moon landing.
So there's obviously they dig a hole.
Yep.
And there's shovel there. There's a bit of dirt. So once you finish your business, you just push the dirt on top.
Naturally.
But you have to hold on to a tree. There's one tree that end, one tree that end, and we're like, we're doing this.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah. So we sort of face opposite directions, turned around. I think we actually touched bums when we came down, and then did our thing, got up, and I mean, it wasn't really that awkward.
No.
We got it done, and just is what it is. And we got on with it, and there was no dramas.
shitting,
Do you know what I mean? But, is what it is. But
You
it
can't
was a
be
pretty funny
needy in those
experiment.
situations.
Especially in the jungle. We were in the fucking jungle.
Hey, what an experience.
There's no fucking toilets.
And what was your best memory? You're like, well, this one time in Malaysia.
Definitely wasn't the best memory there, but it's one I will never forget. And I don't have the best memory in the world, but I will never forget that. I forget even who it was. But it was pretty funny.
That's pretty bold.
But yeah, so I was, how long was I clearance over for? Nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years? Nearly 10 years. I'd have to do the maths on that.
So you went in when you were 7. So you went in.
So I joined the Navy at 17.
Yep.
I became a diver in 2005.
Yep.
And then did that I became a commando in 2000 and the end of 2013.
Okay.
So whatever that is.
I don't know. I'm not even gonna.
So I did. I was diver for a while. I was over in Perth for ages.
Yep.
At Team 4 over there. It was awesome times. Did heaps of cool stuff. A few deployments. Actually, one of the best deployments I did was with them.
Yeah.
So probably my favorite deployment that I've ever done was as a diver, and it was going over to the Solomon Islands and getting rid of unexploded ordnance in all the villages.
Yeah.
So we joined up with a Navy landing craft, which is one of those ships where the front end comes down.
Oh, like
So they can drive trucks and stuff onto it.
Yeah, they're so cool.
So we ended up putting a couple of containers on there, and we lived out of containers on the front.
Yeah, right.
And then the people that were
on
the ship,
your
they lived
stuff
on the
was in
ship.
containers, or you?
No, we lived in
was
containers.
That hot?
Oh, they organised it with air conditioning and stuff like that.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. But the sailors that were on the ship, that were posted to the ship, they obviously sleep in the ship.
Yeah.
Which they had better off than us. But we didn't really care.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it was we would cruise around Solomon Islands we were with the Solomon Island police. We were actually teaching them how to dive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because what they were doing was when they were going around villages and getting rid of unexploded ordnance, they were blowing it up, but then people were getting injured because they were doing it on the land.
Right.
And
so you teach them to.
So we were teaching them to do it underwater, so to blow it up underwater. Well, you can still hurt people from underwater, but you limit it by a lot.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's being on island time and a bit slack with a few things. Yeah, exactly. So we went over there, taught them how to dive to make things a little bit safer.
Yeah.
And they were funny dudes. And I know some of the boys still go over there every now and again.
Oh.
And my name gets mentioned.
Have you been back since?
No, I haven't. I want to though.
Yeah.
I definitely want to and try and meet up with those guys again because they were pretty funny guys.
Yep.
But we're also working with the federal police as well, so they were with us at the same time.
Damn.
So we're working with the police, and then we went around all the different islands, all these cool little villages that you would never go to as a tourist. Like, I'm sure they've seen white people before, but they would not see them often.
Like, whoa.
Yeah. So little fuzzy wuzzies, I call them, because a lot of the kids, they'd come, they got this really fuzzy hair, and some of them would be blonde.
Really?
Yeah, I still got heaps of pictures of some of these kids with like blonde hair, and Yeah, they all had these, fuzzy hair. That was awesome people. So.
Yeah.
But every time in the afternoons, we would pull up in a really nice area. So the captain of the ship would always try and find a really nice area so we could watch the sun go down. And what we would do is it'd be near a village. So he'd bring the front of the ship down.
Yeah.
And then we'd go swimming and be on the boats. And then all the locals would come out in their canoes and their kids would swim out.
Man,
and
that's
they'd just hang out with us. Yeah, and we'd give them some food and they'd give us stuff, and yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, that was probably definitely the highlight because.
And how long were you in the Solomon Islands?
I think we were there for like 6 weeks, maybe. I think it was about 6 weeks.
Probably pretty upset when you had to leave that nice.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool place. I mean, I could do that as a job.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if we could have access to like a boat like that and just do that as a job, I would for sure. But yeah, it would cost too much to do it privately, I think, like that, and I don't know who's going to pay you.
Nobody.
But yeah, just diving, looking for all this ordnance and blowing it up and seeing all the stuff from like World War II. Like walking into areas where they're like, "Hey, mister, follow me," and then you're following them, and then there's this. You're in the middle of the jungle, and then there's just this huge holes dug out where they've put these huge guns. To fire at ships and stuff like that, and then they've got all the ordnance right next to it, like still there from just left there, just stacked. So we're like, oh shit, we're gonna get rid of all this. So yeah, it's old, it's rusting, it's pretty bad, and then getting those and putting them on our little boats and then diving them underwater, placing them carefully, going again, and then getting all of them, and then showing them how to sort of get rid of it and then blow it up. The locals used to love it because we'd blow it up and then all the fish would come up and then they would take the fish and eat it.
They're like, thank you so much.
Yeah, so they didn't have to go spearing for it or anything like that.
That's
but
hilarious.
Most of those fish would be, pretty well destroyed. I don't know how good
probably half cooked too.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that was definitely a highlight because you got to meet so many people and see things that you wouldn't normally see. Yeah. And do a pretty cool thing as well, because some of these kids are walking around with one leg, one arm, no legs because they've walked on devices and stuff like that have gone off.
Rough.
Or random explosions and just happen out of nowhere. And there's a little kid that actually came up to me and he's like, "Hey, mister," and I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And then he just handed me a grenade. I was like, "Whoa!"
Thank you.
Grabbed that and took it off him. But yeah, that was just one little incident that I remember of the kid bringing me a bloody grenade. Yeah.
Whew, lucky he brought it to you.
Yeah.
Didn't play with it himself.
Yeah. So I did like a couple of Middle Eastern piracy trips.
Yep.
It's hunting for pirates
on the waters.
Yeah, generally the Somalis. Trying to
like board ships and stuff.
They board ships and then they take them over and then they take them wherever they take them off the coast somewhere. Then they just hold them for ransom. Then they get the money. Then they sort of let them go.
So dodgy.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty dodgy. But look, would I do the same if I was in their situation?
I guess
nothing else.
Different for us who have privileges and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
food, water.
Our white privilege.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on that shit.
Yeah. Look, again, like I always like to think of both sides of the story.
100%.
Would I do what they are doing to live and feed your family? Probably.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say unless you're in that position, isn't it?
Exactly. If you've grown up like that, you don't know any better. Like,
okay.
So yes, they know it's wrong.
Yeah.
But they have to do it.
Well, what options do they have?
Exactly right. So, again, I do get it. That's why we sort of, in a way, take it easy on them. Yeah. Like we're not when we find them, like we're not there bashing them and stuff like that. The Australians are actually pretty good to them, to be honest.
Yeah.
When they know they're captured anyway, they're not gonna shoot back at you or anything like that.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure it definitely has happened where they've done it to other countries.
They're pretty dumb too.
They're dumb too because they'll get destroyed and they're just gonna die.
Yeah.
Because we're armed to the teeth, all our guns are aiming at them when we're coming up to them. But generally they're asleep when we hit them targets anyway.
Wakey.
So most of the times when we're doing one of those hits would be like just before the sun's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got NVGs on, they can't see us coming.
Wow.
And then by the time we get on board, most of them are still asleep, you know, so.
Can you imagine that, just waking up, someone's like, get up?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it a fair few times where, you know, I've tapped my gun on a person and, hey, wake up. He's like, holy shit, in the guy's eyes. Just like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this dude doing here? Especially you're on a boat in the middle of nowhere. You're not expecting
no one.
Especially with a gun. Some white guy, bloody, you know, waking you up. But, you know, they're always being pretty compliant. And a lot of them are good dudes anyway.
Yeah.
You know, once we search a ship and we hang out with them and we're sort of directing them, they're actually, some of them are pretty funny. Yeah, exactly. And they, you know, sort of, you know, you learn their names and have chats and have a bit of a laugh with them.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You keep it professional, obviously.
Naturally.
But yeah, a lot of them are just normal. Well, they are the normal people.
I guess it comes down to like everyone's just human in that scenario. It's not like, you know, they're less of a person.
Exactly.
You're doing bad shit.
But obviously, we're getting told what we have to do to get these people, and you know, some of them are doing not the best stuff either. They're, you know, smuggling people, they're smuggling drugs, they're smuggling oil, they're smuggling weapons, they're doing all this to make money for, you know, like Taliban, ISIS, all these people. That's where the money goes. So that's the biggest reasons why we're up there, is to stop that sort of stuff and stop them from, you know, making money and doing what they have to do with that money, you know. But obviously when they're smuggling people, it's not great either.
No.
Not that I ever really... we came across, or my guys didn't come across smuggling people, but there was drugs, weapons, I think. Oil, a big one. Yeah. Smuggling oil and stuff like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was your time doing that, and then when did you kind of get into the working dog side of things, or what kind of got you into that?
Yeah, so when I was a diver, a few of the boys were going the counter-terrorism way.
Yep.
And they were just going in drips and drabs, and I thought it was my time to go do it because I was very intrigued with that sort of world as well. It was very hard to get into, and there was a pretty high failure rate to get into that sort of world. So they have a mini selection for the divers themselves. So heaps of the guys were going towards that direction of counter-terrorism, and then I was pretty intrigued to go that way because it's, you know, pretty badass. You see all the cool videos and they're shooting and blowing shit up and driving fast and helicopters and all that sort of stuff. So I definitely wanted to say that I've done that.
Yep.
So ended up doing that, ended up passing and getting through with that. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
Pretty much when I was doing that and I finished, not long afterwards, then the canine capability came in with the commandos.
Capability, what's that?
So the dogs.
Oh, so I thought you meant it was like a squad or something.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that's a weird name.
They had it's not called that, but like I should say the military working dog capability came in.
Yeah. Okay.
So I remember seeing when I saw my first one, I was just
in love
with those, and it was just the aura that they were just giving off just intrigued me.
Yep.
And I was just fell in love straight away. And I've always, you know, had dogs my whole life, like a lot of people.
Yep.
But I always remember saying I wanted to work with dogs, but I sort of just never did that at an early age.
So many people say that.
It never happened like that. It just didn't work out. But I remember my mum asking me years and years ago when I was in primary school, I think it was even grade 2, what I wanted to do when I was older, and I always said that I wanted to be a military police. Sorry, no. Fucking take
no,
that
back.
That shit. No, I do not want to do that. Not military police, a police dog handler. Police, dog handler, police, dog handler. That's what I wanted to do. Not a military police dog handler.
I'm going to clip that.
So I wanted to go that direction.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's a pretty young age to know.
Yeah. But again, I was just always intrigued with dogs.
I mean, same. That was every job I've had has been with dogs, and I grew up with them too. So I get the pull.
Especially, you know, the working dog way just looked really cool.
Yeah, that's just insane.
But when I saw them and what they were doing, and they gave us a little bit of a demonstration and how we can possibly be working with them in the future, I was like, that's me. I've got to do that. So after I saw that, not long after that, I was actually deploying again to the Middle East to do a piracy trip. While I was there, I put in my application to change over to the commandos.
Yeah.
So you have to be a commando to do that particular job.
Yeah.
You can't be a clearance diver and do it. So ended up applying while I was away. All that went through. I came back, did a accelerated infantry course, which is for people that aren't infantry.
Yep.
And that helps you with your basic infantry skills.
Right, okay.
Like navigation, which I'd never done. So I was a little bit worried about doing it because I'd never done it. I'd done it
Did you do
sea.
good?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually pretty easy.
Okay.
I was stressing about it because all the people that are coming on the course with me, there was only a couple of Navy guys, and the rest were Army, so they probably had a bit of an idea already.
Yeah.
But it was super easy. Like, it's really easy to do once you get the hang of it, and like anything. But I'm glad it wasn't that fucking hard. So once I got over that and I found out how to do that, I was fucking flying. It was easy.
Yeah.
But you just had to get used to just carrying a pack around everywhere.
Yeah. How many kilos is that?
Well, I think it just depends.
On the person? Or what
well, yeah, depends on what job you do.
Right.
But when you're doing training, it's all around the same sort of weight. But it varies if you're doing certain tests, like, like a 20 clicker pack march or something like that, then it's a particular weight. Off the top of my head, I forget how heavy it has to be. I think it's like 25, 27 kilos plus everything else, like your weapon and all that sort of stuff.
Like a small child.
And I think another 7, and again, I forget what it is exactly, but 7 in your webbing as well. So you got webbing and then you got your pack as well. I could be wrong, but they're around those figures.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, you're getting used to, wearing all that sort of stuff and just, fine tuning your body with that.
A lot of extra weight.
Yes. So I was training probably all up before I did selection for about a year.
Wow.
So I trained pretty hard, and I knew because it was a marine capability in the commandos as well. So, you've got air, land and water.
Yep.
You need to be good in the water as well. Even though I was a clearance diver, but I wasn't the greatest swimmer as a clearance diver. Because a lot of the people that were... Yeah, exactly. A lot of people that were clearance divers, they sort of grew up near the water and
right, so that wasn't the case for you.
And all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I never grew up near the water. So these guys, when we did like swimming sessions and all that sort of stuff, they would flog me.
Yeah.
They were amazing swimmers, which I never was.
Yeah.
So I always struggled with the swimming, but good with the running.
Are you good swimming now?
Well, I haven't swum in a while, but I got better. So when I was going through my commando course, I would pretty much swim nearly every single day.
Yeah, damn.
So after what I had to do for my, let's say, morning session, I would always finish that morning session up with a swim. But with the...
Getting the hours in.
Yeah, well, with the swimming, when you're on selection, you have to do it in your uniform.
Oh, like boots and stuff and everything?
I think they make you do it in like runners.
Oh, okay.
Long pants, long shirt, and a weapon.
So with boots on, you just go...
Well, yeah, you definitely could, but it would just be a lot harder.
Yeah.
But generally whenever you're doing your PT sort of stuff, they'll make you wear runners for that.
Yeah.
Except when you're doing pack marching and that. But anyway, I trained pretty hard, and even one of my friend's missus, at the time, she was in the Olympics for water polo.
Right.
So I even got a few lessons off her just to help with a few of those.
Did that help?
Treading water and stuff like that. Yeah, it did. Some of the things you showed me sort of helped.
Yeah.
But obviously it just comes back to me putting time in the water.
It's like everything, eh?
Yeah.
Time in the lead, time in the gym.
Yeah. So I think like after I'd finish my session in the morning, I'd go do like 500 meters with my clothes on. And then I'd do like another 500 meters. I think I'd take my shirt off.
Naked.
and then another 500. Then I'd do another 500 meters with just, I think, my dickies on.
Yeah.
And everything off. So I slowly just got better swimming. Because have you ever tried swimming with all your clothes on? Like laps?
One time, but not laps in the ocean. That's hard. It's very restrictive, and you get a lot of motion against it.
Very restrictive.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it gets caught in your elbow and stuff like that, or just in certain areas. Then you're getting rubbed while you're swimming, and you're trying to fix it when you're swimming. It's fucking irritating.
Hard pass.
It's hard, but I got used to it, and I made myself do it and got better at it, because I know some of the sessions they do on selection, like they go for hours, and people have drowned in those sessions, and people are getting water in the lungs and struggling. Yeah. But also, you got to swim with your fucking weapon, so that makes it harder. So I would do little sessions where I'd swim with like a 5 kilo weight,
Yeah.
And then throughout the lesson, then I'd put it down to like 2.5 kilos and just swim with that. So I'm always like swimming with something.
You're just getting your body used to it, yeah.
Yeah, just holding something. Because when we're on selection, we did heaps of that with your red gun, like your fake gun.
Yeah.
Like drop it, go get it, bring it up, hold water, put it above your head, all this sort of shit. So they make it pretty hard. But yeah, selection was definitely harder for me than the clearance diver one, just because I wasn't used to it. But then I know some of the boys have said that the clearance diver one is the hardest one that they've done.
Yeah.
Again, because they're miserable and cold and
like I hated it.
Yeah, exactly. Where the army one's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty challenging. Really cool experience, and you do definitely need to train a lot for it.
Sounds like it.
A lot. So I was pretty lucky to have a few people that I was training with that were pretty amazing and fit, athletes and people what they do. Even one of my good mates that I was deployed with, he's in the SAS now, and freak of a runner. I know his name always gets mentioned in our podcast, but I won't mention his name because he is still in. But I was always training with him, and he would always kick my ass and go, "Hey, get up, come on, let's go." And I'm like, "Oh,
fine."
But he's another freak of nature as well. So yeah, selection was done and dusted, and then went on the reinforcement cycle course, which is the commando course. That goes for like a year or something like that.
A year?
Something like that. 9 months at the time. I think it's longer now.
Yeah.
I forget, off the top of my head, I forget how long it is. But it is pretty long because there's heaps of phases that you have to go through.
I guess you got to kind of see who's built for it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the things you learn take a little bit of time to learn. And practice. They don't want to just, push you through too quickly because obviously you need to know
You'd
what
be
the
shit
fuck you're
otherwise.
doing. You have to.
Yeah.
In that job, it's a big boy job. You need to know what you're doing. Yeah, you have to. I always say it is a big boy job because, they've got like the lower ranks even running things.
Yeah.
In the, regular army where, generally the higher up people will be running that.
I get what you mean.
So it is a big boy job, and, there's lots of chances of people dying even with training, and it happens all over the world in those sort of environments. And there has been even people die in ours, accidentally getting shot and stuff like that. Yep. And some of those cases were very unfortunate accidents.
I mean, accidents happen every day, hey?
Exactly. But yeah, a lot of people have hurt themselves, falling off ladders or out of things, or rolling cars, or getting bit by dogs.
You're like, I survived. They might not have.
But it's definitely a cool thing. So any guys or girls out there that want to get into that world, it's definitely an awesome world to get into. And anyone that's in the military listening to this, thinking about doing it, get off your fucking ass and do it. Like, all my goals that I've had to do in military wise, they don't happen quickly.
Yeah.
I've always every single thing I've said I've wanted to do, I've done it and passed it.
Yeah, that's sick.
Because I actually remember, like, when I said I wanted to be a clearance diver, I actually remember a time and place when these people were saying, "You, clearance diver, that's it."
And you're like, all right.
It's okay, whatever. And then obviously I became one.
That's sick.
Passed selection first go, passed the course, and then just bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Same as commandos. I was like, look, I'm only doing this fucking selection once. I'm not training a whole another year to do this again, because it takes a lot out of you, and relationships,
it's a
and
long
family and all that sort of
time.
stuff. I'm lucky I didn't have kids then, because I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I
mean, fair. You would have missed so much stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Exactly, because it's a lot of time away, and a lot of stress that gets put on you.
Yeah.
There's been so many shitty night sleeps, like wondering, oh fuck, what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, like
because you're under constant scrutiny every single day, and if you do you get 3 crosses.
Yeah, right.
You get 3 crosses, you're fucking gone. And some of those crosses come pretty quickly for some people.
How many crosses did you get?
None.
Oh, what?
No crosses. No crosses, not once. There was one time where one of the guys, not mentioning any names, he's like, "Oh, you lasered someone." I'm like, "No, I actually didn't." And I'm not arguing with this guy, but It's like, no, you did. Don't fucking argue with me. I'm like, look, because when I was a clearance driver, I had to go through the program that we were doing, and I'd already done it.
Yeah.
So I was very fucking proficient on where to put my weapon and so forth. But from the fucking angle he was on, I don't know if he was hating on me because
might have been winding you up
or something. But I was like, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
I know I didn't do that. But nothing happened. I didn't get across or like a little stern talking
potential cross.
Yeah, but still, like,
yeah,
I don't know what happened that day. But anyway, no crosses. I passed the course. And a lot of it I'd done before previously, being in the Navy and going through that process at the unit. But there was just a couple of things that I hadn't done before.
And how many years did you spend with the military working dogs?
So I ended up doing, I think it was 7. Or probably 6 in like 9 months, whatever it is. So pretty much as soon as I finished my commando course, I got to the unit. I remember having a meeting with my platoon commander. What do you want to do? What do you want to specialize in? And I said dogs, and he said, awesome, there's a course happening like in 6 weeks.
Beautiful.
Or whatever.
Slot straight in.
Like, holy fuck.
It's happening.
And then I got to, look, I was very fortunate. I was so fortunate.
Yeah, it sounds like it all just went pretty well for you.
It really did. So when he said, yep, you can do that, then he actually said, because there wasn't really much going on at the time for my particular company, which was good. So I actually got to go down early to do on-job training with at the kennels.
Oh, hell yeah.
So pretty much from that day, I pretty much stayed down there. So I did the just hanging out there, getting to know the dogs and all that sort of stuff. Then I started, there's an OJT course that they run. It's 4 weeks to see if you're good to go on the course. Then passed that and then got on the course, passed the course, and then I was a handler. And then I was there for the rest of my career in the Army.
Yeah, that's sick.
So it was fucking awesome. So the handler course was fucking awesome, and anyone that loves dogs and want to work with dogs, it's definitely the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yep.
And froth on it. Froth.
Can't tell.
On working with dogs.
Do you have like a favorite memory from when you're in, or there's a few too many? Or?
With the dogs?
Yeah. Like anything that shoots.
Maybe not like a particular memory. I mean, I always wanted to jump out of a plane with a dog, which I did, but I didn't do it by myself because I wasn't
like 2 men
I wasn't
strapped.
3-4 qualified.
Right.
Even though they were pushing for the handlers to get on it, I just wasn't at the right place at the right time with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There was always like, oh yeah, here we go, there's a course going to happen, and then okay, your handler is off, there's other more important people that need to do this course.
So you still jumped out with the dog strapped to you, but you had someone strapped.
Yes, I was bitch. So I was bitch, and then the dog was even the bitch. So I actually jumped a couple of times, tandem with some of the guys.
That's cool.
With my dog. Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Is that a box you still want to tick? Like jumping out of the
I definitely would. I've actually asked.
Do it with Tiny.
I've actually asked a guy that we've trained where they do it all the time. They jump all the time. And
they jump, or do they do dog stuff?
No, they jump.
Yeah.
They do.
So you'll just have to figure out.
They do competitions and all this sort of stuff.
Cool.
So I asked him to ask if I could jump with my dog, but they don't have the bag and all that sort of stuff for the dogs that they need to get signed off.
Get it sorted. That'd be so cool.
It just sounded a bit too hard. But anyway, so that's sort of gone out the window. But,
one day.
Jumping out of helicopters with the dog, like fast roping, all that sort of stuff's cool. That, no one gets to do that shit unless you're a handler. All the cool bite work, all the cool training that we're going to do with them. But I think the best thing with me was, again, having a good opportunity, again, I was lucky, is when I got to the dog cell the day before, they had 8 brand new dogs rock up, plus the ones that they already had. Man. So these dogs came from overseas, so they were all green dogs, and Googe was one of them.
Yeah, right.
Yep, Googe and Chompy, my dog.
Oh, yes, I've heard about Chompy.
They were the dogs that were there. So I was pretty lucky to have that exposure and work with all these green dogs.
We both started at the same time, yeah.
We both started at the same time.
That's cool.
Both started at the same time. So that's why, I've got a special place with Googe, because I've known him since he was young and when he first came to the unit. or with Chompy, because I remember him spinning around in his kennel, and I was like, "Oh, glad he's not my dog," because he wasn't actually my dog at that time. And all the other sort of dogs that went through the program, and obviously the ones that failed and stuff like that. But the handler course was fucking awesome. I'm lucky I had a really cool instructor that was running it. So the lead handler, Mick, don't have to say the rest of his name, but Mick, he's definitely someone that I looked up to when I was going through that, and even being an operator, he was obviously a well-respected operator as well. So done some shit, and obviously a handler and a very well-respected guy. So it was cool working under someone like that. So yeah, dog course was awesome, did heaps of cool stuff. And then pretty much as soon as I finished dog course, I was at the counter-terrorism unit again, but as a commando and as a handler. So I got thrown backwards and forwards, working with my fellow clearance divers, and then working with the army, the commandos as well. So,
had your finger in everything.
I did. I was pretty lucky, and then pretty much stayed a handler for the. Actually, I did. I stayed a handler the rest of the time in the
That's so cool.
in the army. So yeah, it was sick. So,
hell yeah. All right, what other questions do we have? Growing up, no. So you ran us through your childhood a little bit, and so coming out of the army, you kind of had Master of Puppies already on the run, or on the go. Were you with Taya at that time, and kind of like how, going from being this military fellow with no responsibilities to anyone else to now having a family? How was the adjustment? From that?
So I started Master of Puppies before I met Taya. And so that's my partner, is Taya.
We love Taya.
Yep.
Bless.
So I started Master of Puppies before I met her, and I was single for a while. And then, good old Tinder. Found Taya on there. Ended up meeting up with her. She was playing a gig that night. She's a bass player in a band.
She's a badass.
And met up with her, and then pretty much from then, it was it.
And how long have you been together?
Like 6 years now.
Damn.
Yep, so coming up 7. So we've been together for a while.
Now she's the brain of Master of Puppies.
Yeah. So she had her own cleaning business in Sydney, the Northern Beaches, and then I had MOP, and then had the army as well. Obviously we were getting pretty serious then, and then I was on my way out from the military. And obviously as soon as I discharged, I already had gigs rocking up for Master of Puppies. I was already booked out in advance with training already.
How far? Like a month? 2 months?
I think 2 months at that stage in Sydney. So I was.
And it was just
sweet.
you.
It was just me. Yeah.
Was that a lot of pressure?
I was pretty busy. Well, I don't remember the last time I had a weekend off when I was in the army. Because I was training dogs every single weekend. And then even sometimes in the afternoons throughout the week, I was training people.
So you had no life.
So I really had no life, and I was getting used to just working with people, traveling everywhere, especially in Sydney, hour to get everywhere. And I wasn't charging too much as well, which, I probably should have put my prices up.
I mean, you've learned.
Yeah, exactly. But we ended up moving up once I got out and, finished my time working with Master of Puppies in Sydney. We moved up to the Gold Coast. Because we wanted to obviously have a family, and Taya was pregnant just before we moved with my son.
The boy.
And she was a little bit worried about moving up there and having nothing to go to.
Yeah.
So we moved up. We were there for a couple of months, and then COVID hit.
Good old
So
COVID.
I was actually pretty happy. Because I was
still... everything shut down?
Well, I was still in that process of I'm just adjusting out of the army, out of the military, and sort of having a little bit of a holiday.
Was that like a bit of a mental struggle adjusting out of that, like to civilian life?
No, well, look, it's even to this day it is sometimes, but
because it's two completely different worlds.
Like a lot of people say, is you lose your identity, and that's true.
Well,
like you've gone from
you're this big badass. You're no one now.
What are you? To
I train puppies.
I'm a dog trainer now. Oh, Coog. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yes, it definitely was, but at least I had something already to go to.
Oh, exactly. You weren't just free falling into nothing.
Exactly. Which some of the guys, that's what they do. is I'm just getting out because I've had enough of it and I'm pissed off.
They don't have a plan.
Or sometimes I'm just going to get out and see what happens, or I'm just going to chill out for a bit. And then generally what happens is a lot of those guys go back because they don't have anything to go to.
Yeah, well, I guess they have like
just
a bit of a family with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
the
a lot of
identity's
structure.
lost and they need it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I definitely get that. Where I already had something going and I knew that it was going to succeed, but COVID happened. And this is sort of delving into, what your podcast is about. It's like mental health and stuff like that. Where I was sort of lucky where I used that as a bit of a break.
Yeah.
A bit of a holiday because I was still on that transition out, and I knew the work would come and I knew it wouldn't happen straight away.
Yeah, you need to rush.
So, we had a break for however, a few months. Obviously, I had saved up a bit of money and we were sweet for a while anyway. So, but I can see how a lot of people struggled, or the mental health shit kicked in for a lot of people.
Definitely, yeah.
And how people would be, doing their protests and disobeying rules and all that sort of shit. Because if I didn't have money to back me, I don't know.
It was a bit of bullshit, yeah.
It would have. Like, imagine being a father that's meant to be providing for your family.
Yeah.
Because, generally men
have
always been the provider.
Yeah.
Yep. It's sort of the way it is. Back then or now, whatever it is.
I mean, it's still
yes,
kind of
women obviously work and
you
stuff
have
like
gender
that,
roles kind of for a reason. Usually the missus has
correct.
time off when she has a baby anyway, so dad will be providing.
And look, there can be some heaps of controversy on this shit, and whoever's listening, you might not agree with me.
I mean,
with this,
it doesn't really matter if you agree or not. This is just how it is.
This is just how it is, and how I am, and how I've grown up, and you might be different and changed along the way and whatever. But if I was in that position where I had to provide for my family and I couldn't, and now I can't put food on the table, I can't pay rent, I can't do fuel, I can't buy my kids nice things, like whatever, that puts a lot on the guy. Then it goes down to your partner, then down to your kids, and no wonder there was a lot of suicides throughout that period, through that fucked up period.
And I mean, it was nice to have a break, but even myself, like I was diving, hiking, doing all this stuff, having the time of my life, and then gets to a point where you don't have a purpose. You can't, like, Centrelink was providing for a lot of people, but
not enough
to do what you wanted, and you know, savings, and you want to work for your money, and I need to work for my mental health. Like, I love to work, and I love to keep busy, and that was something that I couldn't do, and I went insane.
I mean, it's all right for, like, people that were in government jobs and getting paid
they're still getting
every
paid.
Thursday, every second Thursday.
Yeah.
Or if you're a poly, you're getting paid. You don't give a fuck.
No, that didn't change for them.
You're still providing for your family.
Yeah.
Or all those sort of people, they could do that. But I remember back in the day, I was living pay to pay.
Yeah.
But obviously I was getting paid every second Thursday. But if you're like a tradie, if you're in, in the restaurant industries and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. You're working for that money and you get paid that money, off those people that day or whatever it is. So you don't know when it's coming sometimes.
Nope.
Like tradies, you do a job and you're waiting for them to pay you. When the fuck is it going to pay?
Yeah.
If you don't work, you get no money. Or the weather's bad, you get no money, because you can't work. So I can see how not being able to provide for your family fucked with a lot of people's heads.
100%.
Obviously, nothing against females, but obviously a lot of males being in that position, I totally understand how that would feel and how much of a failure that they think they would have been.
A lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, 100%. So again, being the male, you've got to be that provider for your family. You know what I mean? So luckily, we were okay in that sort of situation.
Yeah. And what were you kind of do? Like, you were on your little holiday, like a little break. Were you surfing?
Yeah. So I don't know.
How pregnant was Taya?
Around the country. Well,
had she given birth at this point?
She had given birth when it was still a little bit funny, where you could only have
Could you be there?
I could be there.
Oh,
yeah.
That's lucky.
Yeah, where I could be there, no one else could be.
Yeah.
And obviously had to go through all the checks and all that fucking
Yeah.
sort of bullshit. So yeah, that was a bit of obviously a weird time. That and the whole vaccine thing. That was obviously a very bit of a challenging thing as well. So we never decided to go through with it.
Good on you.
And again, you guys can fucking love me or hate me or stop listening. Again, I don't care. But not that we're against it like a lot of people. I'm not a fucking anti-vaxxer. It's like, shut the fuck up, you losers. We weren't anti because, look, I mean, the amount of injections I had when I was in the military.
Oh, me.
Okay, yeah, you got to get an injection. Okay, no worries, bang, do it. Sweet, no worries. But now I have a choice.
And I think the whole thing is they had their choice taken away from them.
Yes.
Like I did.
Yes.
And I got 2 of them.
Yep.
I got very sick. And I regret that because that's not something I would normally do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But where, again, I had a choice.
And you chose
1, I wasn't in the military, so I didn't have to.
Yep.
2, for my job at that time, I didn't have to.
Yeah.
So I wasn't working really anyway because, of all the lockdowns and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to go get it. I wasn't, frontliner or anything like that. So I wasn't rushing out to get them and lining up in the queues. And again, I was sort of just like, I think those sort of people, they need to go do it, and I'm not going to line up and get in their way. So we'll just wait. So we waited, and kept seeing all the things on the news every single day of the lineups down the street. I was like, I don't need to line up to go get this.
No.
Just to sit at home and do nothing, do whatever we were doing.
Well, you already had to socially distance anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So
be near anyone.
Again, we'll just sit back and just see how this sort of plays out, and we'll sort of get it when we have a chance to, I suppose.
Yep.
But then obviously we're getting a little bit of pressure from our families, sort of, which sort of sucked.
Yeah, already getting pressured from the government.
where exactly. Yeah. Where they're just hearing all this shit on the news. Oh, you got to get it, and then bad mouthing people that aren't getting it.
Can't trust the news.
And all this sort of shit, and then you're sort of getting peer pressured. And I remember there were certain points where I was like, "Fuck, maybe we better get this because they're saying we have to." So you're getting that peer pressure. There is a term, and I forget what it was, and I was going to look it up on the way here, but a very long time ago, how some of the wars have started back in the day is where they've been peer pressured into this group's bad, then everyone's like, oh yeah, these guys are bad, and then it just gets bigger, and then it sort of takes over the whole country, and then bang, they're at war, sort of thing. There is a
little bit of propaganda almost.
There is a word for it.
Is it brinkmanship?
Brinkmanship. Maybe look that up while you're there. This is sort of like Joe Rogan here. What's that guy on Joe Rogan? I forget his name there. Hey, look it up. This is Isaac in the background.
Yes, our cameraman.
But there is a term for it where it sort of turns, not turns people against people, but it gets people all looking in the one direction. So
they've done a little bit of distracting. Like,
yeah. So they've done some social experiments. Like there's one in particular that I remember seeing when all this shit was happening. And it's when there was a couple of people in an elevator, and they're all facing away from the door. Then this one lady rocks up into the elevator and is like, what the fuck? Presses the button, faces the door, looks around, and they're all facing the other way. And then she's like, oh, I think I have to face the other way.
Oh,
and then she faces the other way just like everyone else.
What the heck?
So she sort of copied what everyone else has been doing.
Yeah, right.
So that peer pressure and that feeling of being excluded,
conforming,
which I actually felt a little bit excluded from some of these when all this shit started happening, and from family and stuff like this.
Naturally,
I remember we had to go. We went to a family's place once, and one of their family friends, had to come pick up a caravan.
Yeah.
And he rang up and knew that we were there and said, "Are they vaxxed?" And they said no. And then they're like, "Oh no, we're not coming to pick it up."
Ooh, we gotta
so this is like the bullshit that was pushed into these people's heads. We could have fucking stayed inside. They could have hooked their caravan.
You're not gonna get it from inside.
And took it off. But this is what was sort of happening.
Bit ostracized.
All these really weird things like this, and obviously we were copying shit off of certain people in our family about not getting it and how we're going to pass things on and all this sort of shit, and how you got to do it for the family and how selfish you are.
That's why I did it. I did it for elderly and did that, and it comes out now the studies say it didn't protect against
Exactly
other people.
right. So, I mean, for whatever reason, it's still getting pushed in certain organisations today. I think more frontline, but again, like, it's not stopping it, obviously, from going around.
If it was your own personal choice, it'd be different. But then you've got, the nurses and the paramedics and the policemen that they were forced, or you lose your job.
Exactly right. And
that's
obviously we know many people in that, and I've spoken to many people about this over the years. But look, we're very happy that we sort of stuck to our guns with this, because there's obviously heaps of bullshit coming out at the moment.
Yeah.
And funny we're sort of talking about this, because even last night I follow a senator on Instagram, an Australian senator, and he talks about this sort of stuff. Off the top of my head, I forget his name. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
But he put out a screenshot of an article that he saw in a paper yesterday or whenever it was, how the number of babies that have died after a month of being born from 2022 onwards,
like SIDS,
has increased a lot.
Yeah, right.
So that's why he's sort of pushing for a royal commission into the COVID and how it was run. And
well, it's funny you say that about babies. As a chick, I used to go to her gym, Chantal Duncan, with Hit Capalaba, and she had 2 twins that were very early, and then they had their vaccinations, and they were found lifeless at the bottom of their crib. Like, they didn't end up passing away, thankfully. They CPR and whip them off to the hospital, and they were all good, but direct correlation.
Yep.
And she could have lost her babies.
Well, I mean, we've definitely heard a lot of, stories over the years now. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of all of them that I've heard, but I remember even one of the doctors was pushing Tay to fucking get an injection while she was pregnant, and I was like, there's no fucking way in hell we are doing that.
Yeah.
We don't know enough about this.
No.
You're pregnant.
Thalidomide babies.
Yeah.
Think about it.
We were like, no way in hell, and like we not had an argument with this doctor, but she was sort of putting the hard
forceful
word on us.
Yeah.
Which obviously a lot of doctors sort of look. Even my bloody doctor that I see now was talking to me about it. I didn't say that I hadn't got it, and there was one say he's like, "Oh, I can't believe people that aren't bloody getting it. They're bloody idiots." Blah blah. Like, fuck. That's me. I didn't say anything, but
I saw my doctor after I got my first vaccination and had a very intense reaction. I went to her and was like, "Hey, this happened, this and that," and didn't even take it into account. They're just like, get this other one, and me stupidly thinking, oh, this other one's not gonna cause any problems, and it was fucking worse.
Yeah.
It's like these...
And I know a few people like that. I thought a lot of people would have been a little bit, I don't want to say smarter, because a lot of people are smart people. But just thought about it just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And because I remember even seeing some of my friends online were having
like debates,
shots at each other.
Oh, real?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And giving each other shit about it, and obviously, both sides not knowing enough information about it.
Yeah.
But I always need to know or look into both sides of the story before going out and doing something.
Yeah.
Where I think a lot of people are just getting this one-sided thing, and then, I better go do this, and getting pushed to do it. I don't get pushed into doing shit like that too easy, and I like to think for myself a little bit more, and just, just think about it a little bit more than just rushing into it, especially shit like that.
I'm very much the same. It was unfortunate for me, though. For my job, I needed to get it to continue to work to earn money. And this is when, Centrelink wasn't giving money for if you do want to work. Like, it's either get the vaccination and work, or don't have it, don't work.
Yeah.
Which was really shit. But
it is, sad that, it's, again, seeing some of this stuff that this senator posts. Let me just look him up while I'm here.
Easy.
Because it'd probably be worth for some people.
Yeah, they might be able to have a look and see themselves.
Senator Malcolm Roberts. He's got 51,000 followers.
Damn.
So he's not, I wouldn't say outspoken, but he's obviously just trying to find the truth in a lot of things, which I like that. He's not just bullshitting people. He's got facts, and he's trying to tell these facts as much as he can, and trying to push for investigations and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So again, after hearing a lot of this sort of stuff and seeing some of the shit that's coming out, the data now.
Yeah, like, woohoo.
I'm stoked that we're proud that we stayed stuck to our guns.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
you're still healthy in here.
Exactly.
COVID didn't snatch you up and take you away.
And especially you should get your kids done. Excuse me.
Absolutely
You are fucking not touching these. And there's even stories of some of the schools giving it to their giving to the kids without the parents' approval.
That's very illegal.
That's definitely happened.
Suing the pants off them.
But I've had a few friends like yourself that have had issues with it. One
just
guy,
fucked.
and look, I know a few paramedics as well, and they saw a massive increase in
heart attacks
and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, there's these babies fucking dying. It's
just
pretty
shit.
nuts. Well, anyway, try not to go too far into that.
It's not a COVID podcast.
But I was sort of looking into it and watching it as much as I can when it was all happening. But again, trying to see both sides and seeing the points.
I think that's important to look at both sides. You can't just be like one-sided, like this is what I think, fuck everything else.
Yeah, and I think that's, from what I was sort of seeing, that's what a lot of people were doing. Even, again, I don't want to go too far into it, but, getting pictures. Oh, look at me, this is my third jab. Oh, good on you.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
You're going to die earlier.
I mean, some people might not do anything. Maybe a lot of other people does, but
each to their own. Do what you want to do.
'cause I
no one's
know
right or wrong.
Our neighbour,
Yeah.
when we were in Burleigh, he was a little bit older, but he was pretty fine.
Yep.
He got it, and a week and a half later, or even a week, he died.
Yeah, damn.
And I know one of the neighbours that knows her said something about the vaccine, and this lady sort of had an argument with her. No, it wasn't from that, blah, 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 blah. Well, if he was, going pretty good, he didn't really have any medical issues, and then he had that, and then bang, he's dead. Yeah, it's
correlation.
Surely you can't not think of that, You can't just not talk about it.
No.
Which it does not get talked about.
Vaccine injuries are very real, and like someone that is perfectly healthy, well, not perfectly healthy, but like I could do a lot of stuff before it, and now, heart problems, not diagnosed, but like it's things I struggle with, like it happened after it.
Yeah.
It happened straight after it.
Yeah.
Can't say it didn't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, sort of, getting out from the military, I think the biggest thing, the identity thing is a big one that a lot of people struggle with. But I took the advice that one of my friends gave me, and that is setting a routine. So if anyone's getting out of the military or any particular job that you've been into for a while, is setting a routine. And that routine for me was, I think, waking up at like 5:30, having a cold outdoor shower, and then going to the gym. And when Rex, my son, was born, I would do that every morning when he woke up. I would get him. He was a baby.
Yeah.
Little Wim Hof, method of going in the water.
Come on, Chad.
And we'd both put our hands in and just get them nice and cool. Then we'd swap hands and arms and our legs, and we just both ease into it. And we used to do that every morning.
That's so cool.
And he was only, a couple of months old. But he loved it.
I know he's a little gangster.
Yeah, loved, once he got over that feeling of the cold water, which again, we're easing each other into it, then he was fine. He wanted to just be in my arms, and I'd just hold him the whole time.
Yeah.
He loved it.
And then he come to the gym and pump iron.
Pre-workout, then we're off gym. But that's after COVID and stuff.
Yep.
But then just gym routine, which is obviously very important to try and keep moving and just training. That's obviously mentally good for you.
Yeah.
And physically. And then, family time, and then obviously work time, and just having that routine. So that was the big thing I set, and it worked.
Are you still strict with your routine?
My routine's a little bit different now.
Yeah.
But I don't really go to the gym much anymore, because I'm doing BJJ, I'll do
That's
those.
your gym.
They're my lunchtime or afternoon sessions.
Yep.
So that's sort of my gym at the moment.
Yeah.
And then other days it's a little bit harder with. I mean, I probably could wake up earlier. And
I mean, there is a gym at HQ, but
look,
I won't say
I go through
anything.
phases of weights.
I feel you.
Where jiu-jitsu is a little bit different.
Very mentally stimulating.
Yeah, where you've got people there, you've got an instructor to push you and all that sort of stuff. So, and then you've got your sparring, so you can't get away from it. But going to the gym by yourself can be a little bit boring sometimes.
Nope.
Especially when you're starting out. Once you're in a routine, it's all right. But I do find it a little bit boring.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Cool. So we touched a bit on the routine, getting out, that kind of helped you, and that's what you recommend. Is there any organizations that you kind of follow or you support that are about supporting like veterans?
Yeah, so there's a few out there. I only really know veteran ones.
Yep.
The guys at Swiss 8 do a really good job. They've been doing it for a long time.
You did some stuff with them with
Yes.
was it KDM?
Yep. So they let us go out and organise a day with KDM. We got to use all their new motorbikes before they came out.
I
think they were the 2023s. So before they come out in the shops, we got a day out with those guys. Actually 2 days. So we camped the night at this place. I had a chef cook some food for us and had a bar, like a fire and barbecue.
Must be nice.
Stuff. Yeah, it was really cool. And then riding on their bikes all day long. And
Yep.
So that was really cool. But they do a lot of stuff, and they're really pushing that hard, and they're a pretty what I think is a pretty sincere organisation, wanting to help people.
Yep.
And Adrian's doing a really good job with that, and I see his face up online a lot. What else? Open Arms, Red Six.
Cam's.
Cam's Cause. I don't know if he's doing that one.
Yeah, I think
anymore.
a bit of controversy, but something changed.
I'm not 100% sure. I just think his parents wanted to go away from us. Maybe you could call it the spotlight.
Yeah.
A bit,
No, that's fair.
They've been doing a lot of stuff for a lot of people for a lot of years since their son has passed.
Be tiring.
Yeah, it would be. Going to all these events and speaking, and maybe they just don't want to do that shit anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's a reason, but I think that might have something to do with it. But I don't really know too much. But there's the commanders are lucky enough to have the Commando Welfare Trust, which does help fellow SF operators and their families, and they've been helping a few of the families recently with some of the guys. I don't actually know these guys personally, but I think they've been having some medical dramas like cancer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And aren't able to work.
So they kind of support them through that.
Yeah, so they support
that's
them through
awesome.
that, like medically,
Yep.
and putting their kids through school and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So they've got some big organisations helping them with that as well, which is awesome. There's a new one, 079 Foundation, which is a Commando one as well, and
Yep.
doing the same sort of thing as well. I think anyone that's sort of worked in the 2 Commando area, they sort of help out with that, with their families as well.
Yep.
Look off the top of my head, that's
It's not a test.
Are they
all kind of Australian ones as well?
They're all the Australian ones.
Yeah, awesome.
As well.
Cool.
Yeah,
So it's just good, I guess, for people like hear that there's resources out there if they, do need help with that kind of stuff or want a good, I guess, organisation to support.
Well, those ones are the guys that I sort of know personally who
Cool.
sort of.
So he's vouching for them if they fuck up.
Yeah.
See where.
No, they're all good people, so I trust them.
Easy. Awesome. Is there anyone that you have lost or that is struggling that you kind of want to mention or pay respects to?
Well, look, there's been so many people that I've known since I've joined the military pass away.
Yeah.
I can't, there's no way I can name all of them.
That's fair.
I reckon 50, 100.
That is a lot.
A lot of people. And that's the 20 years that I've been in.
Yes, it's a pretty long span of time and you're in a very
Yes.
high risk career, so bound to happen.
Yeah, from suicides to overdoses, to accidents, to
Killed in
all
action,
that sort of
yeah.
killed in action, all that sort of stuff. If you add them all up, there is a lot. Definitely think about a lot of those guys, especially that I've known personally, a lot, and it's hard not to think about it, especially on anniversaries and Anzac days and Australia days and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the whole world is talking about it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, very hard, but I mean, anyone out there that's sort of, struggling, like everyone says, there's always an organisation out there to help you. All you need to do is obviously ask.
You just got to reach out, yeah.
I mean, I'm not even one of those organisations, even though we do help veterans.
You're like, I'll talk to you.
Technically, we do help people with mental health issues.
Yes,
we deal
I've
with it all
trained
the
a
time.
lot of veterans that are starting that path, or even they just know you, they know you exist,
Yep.
and they don't even want support dogs, but they feel good
Yes.
coming and supporting a veteran-owned and operated business, and they come and have a chat. Buddy's dad, Graham, he's 17, used to be a parachuter and just loves talking to you, and all those kind of people. I guess it's like nice for them to feel seen and a little bit of camaraderie outside of it.
100%. Like I've been to a couple of people's houses and they've pretty much cried straight away, veterans.
Yeah.
Because that I'm here, there to help them, and that I've been through the same sort of stuff as them, and
Must
they
be
feel
comforting.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Comforting is definitely one of the words I would use. But where they can be probably isolated and maybe they don't have friends or other veterans around them that they can sort of go to. There's heaps of different clubs and, sporting clubs and those sort of things that you can go to. But, I get it. Not everyone's into sports and jiu-jitsu and
you're like, I am.
Sort of but there's always heaps of little veteran organisations out there.
There's always something you can do, eh?
But then, there's also some people don't want to hang out with other veterans as well. I sort of get that as well.
They might not be at that point in their life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I try and keep my distance with some of those things. I do personally. I
guess your identity has kind of changed a bit too.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I've sort of got the people that I hang out with. I don't need to go hang out with heaps more veterans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you're not always relatable. Just because we're in the,
you're a
in the
fuckhead.
military. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely heaps of veterans that are fuckwits.
Yeah.
Just like civilians or any job you go to, there's always going to be, fuckheads in that job.
Naturally.
So I don't like every single veteran that I've met, and that
it's like you don't like every single dog trainer you meet.
Exactly.
It's going to be the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so, I've got my sort of particular people I hang out with, and if I need to chat to certain people, I've got that. But some people don't have that. So again, there are people out there that will definitely help you with that sort of stuff.
Easy. And what is something that you find helpful in the support from people around you? Do you kind of rely on a support network, or you kind of your own support network in that, with your schedule?
That's a good question. I think I'm very much my own.
Yep.
I don't know if it's...
Except when it comes to your business. Hey-o.
I don't know if it's my upbringing or the jobs that I've been in.
You're used to being alone.
Where if you, let's just say, if you go to the medics or you go, I'm sorry, I can't do this, or I need a day off, then you're a weak cunt and you're a piece of shit.
Wow.
Where I never wanted to ever be that guy. So I think I'm just used to I just sort it out myself.
Okay.
I'm lucky I don't really have any dramas, so I don't really have to go see anyone about it. So I just keep things to myself and push through and keep a routine. And try and keep busy, and that helps. If
you're kind of helping yourself to help everyone else.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Where some people they don't have that. Maybe they don't have the drive. They've lost that lack of motivation and all that sort of stuff. But and it always comes back to that person. You just got to give yourself a kick in the ass. And
no one's gonna support you but you.
Just like they said, a little while ago, the hardest day of jiu-jitsu is your first day. Is fucking signing up and starting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the hardest bit.
You're like, I'm a coach now.
Do it. Once you do it, then you're sweet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're still a bit of a kook for a while. But at least you're starting to get that community going. And I remember I was like, I'm such a dork. Look at me. Fucking
rolling around.
Don't know what the hell I'm doing, getting my ass kicked. But now I've met heaps of cool people.
Yep.
Getting better all the time. I mean, definitely ups and downs with that sort of sport. But I'm getting better. I'm seeing that tiny little light at the end of the tunnel.
It's happening.
But the big one is getting out, exercising, hanging out with like-minded people, and especially that sort of stuff. It's everyone's driven to be fit and stay healthy and focus on what they're doing.
I think it's a good thing to surround yourself with, and I guess it's a direct reflection. Sometimes the situations you're in can reflect your mental health. So if you're around, drop kicks that just want to, do drugs all day, or have no jobs or do nothing, and that's their life.
which especially coming from the places or the jobs that I've been doing.
Yeah.
You want to hang out with those sort of people.
Yeah.
Like-minded people that want to be better every single day.
Bettering themselves, yeah.
Bettering themselves, working out, being really good at their job. And that only got better as, the commandos and clearance drivers, same sort of thing, where they're very like-minded people and always trying to be professional and the best at what they do.
Yep.
But the good thing about, doing jiu-jitsu as well is that I like, which is pretty cool, is...
Are you a BJJ spokesperson now?
No, definitely not. Look, I'm only new to it.
I've only been doing it once or twice.
I've only been doing it a year, but I do love it.
You've seen a lot of benefits, yeah.
I see a lot of benefits because it's similar to being in the army.
Yeah.
Structure,
right. Yep.
professionalism,
Yep.
fitness,
kicking asses,
goals, all that.
Who you choking out back then?
But like everyone that goes there,
yeah, same mentality.
What I like about it, same mentality, but they're all different.
Yeah, like you were saying,
you could
chicks
be wrestling
and
against a fucking multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
You could be wrestling against a policeman, a doctor,
You're all
electrician, a cleaner, or whatever, and it doesn't matter what they are. They can still kick your ass, or you can kick their ass.
What cleaners kick your ass?
You're all nothing.
Yeah, I like
that. You go
that.
in there. That's what I like about it. Even generally, what you do in your real world, like job-wise, never really gets brought up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so some of the people, I don't even know what the fuck they do. But I spoke to one of the guys the other day, and he's studying to be a doctor. I was like, "You fuck awesome! I did not expect you."
Like I could break your fingers in 3 places, and you won't even know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a cool little thing that I like about it.
That is very very niche.
Yeah.
Love that. Awesome. What else we got?
Do you want water, by the way?
I'm good.
I'm good, thank you. I'll have to pee. Delicious. My next question was, how do you bring yourself down from a crisis point? But I guess all the stuff you kind of just mentioned would be exactly that. A routine, reaching out,
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have your ups and down days.
Yeah.
And think about things more than others. But it's not just trying not to think about it.
Yeah.
It's just trying to get on with your fucking life. You can definitely have this time to think about that sort of stuff, but I try not to let things like that drag you down too much. Because if it does, then you're going to get in a hole and you're never going to get out of it, which a lot of people can get in pretty quickly. Yes. Be busy. Stay busy.
Stay busy, don't think.
Keep fucking trucking along.
Yeah.
Because if you don't and you stop, that's when shit goes downhill really quickly.
No, that's pretty sound advice.
Yeah. But
like
that's
that.
just me. Everyone does things differently.
Yeah. I mean, that's why therapists exist too. You can still do your regular life, or even if you're not bad, you can engage in services like that where they go, well, when you get to that point and you have to think about that, you've got these tools where you can do this and that. Like,
but,
you're not just...
I always think as well that I always, this is one thing I do think about a lot, is there's always someone else out there that's worse off than you.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just go, what the fuck am I worried about? Why am I upset about this or whatever? Shut the fuck up.
I think it's
There's
definitely
people way worse off than you.
Yeah.
That's like when I sort of talked about my childhood. I didn't want to go too deep into it because there's people that have had way worse childhoods than me.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to whinge about that. But I remember seeing, and this is one thing I do remember when if I'm a little bit down or if I'm like need a bit of motivation or whatever, is when I was in Djibouti. It's a...
Did you make that up?
No, it's in Africa.
Yep.
It's at the top of Africa.
Okay.
So there's like a little corner and it sort of comes in the inlet there and Djibouti's there somewhere. Look, honestly, a bit of a shithole. Not the nicest sort of place to be in. Pretty...
like third world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So our ship went there and we had to get on the bus and we were going to one of the military bases there.
Okay.
And, generally where most people beg is where there's tourists and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's where people have money and, that's where they would start begging. There was one lady that I saw on a corner in the fucking boiling hot sun, 40, nearly 50 degrees in this stinking fucking place. Pretty much in the middle of where we were based, where our ship was to where the base was. So in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing this lady like begging for anything off the locals. in the middle she had 2 kids, a little baby in her arms, and
Oh.
then another like sort of toddler just sitting in the fucking sun begging for food. I mean, you can't get any worse
That's
off
pretty
than
dire
that. You know what I mean?
situation,
When you're
yeah.
in your local area and you're fucking begging and you've got these kids. I just remember seeing that picture when we were driving past, just going,
Burn in your brain.
fuck.
Yeah.
It did. Because that is, I mean, you know,
That's
you
fucked up.
can't sort of get any lower than that, can you?
No. And I think, it gives you, I think perspective is a good word to use in those terms. A lot of people go, oh, lots of people have it worse off than me. And I think sometimes that can take away from like the things you go through.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like drowning, whether you're 1 foot under or you're 6 feet under, you're still drowning.
Yeah.
So everyone has their dramas, but perspective is a good thing. So,
Yeah.
in that moment, you probably went, fuck, okay, well, I'm in, a bus, I've got clean clothes, I got food, I'm fed, I
Yeah,
got all these
exactly.
friends,
Yeah.
well, brothers, you've got all this stuff. And I think, when you are getting low, you put it into perspective.
Yeah.
You go, nah, I'm not that.
No.
I'm good.
No,
So
exactly.
I kind of did the same thing, but I think for a lot of my life as well, I discounted it. Oh, someone always says it worth. Nah, don't worry about my problems. Like, it's fine. In that, you can kind of, it's a little bit slippery. Sometimes you can discount something to the point where it's
100%.
not good, but I like that. I do
Yeah.
the same thing.
Well, I mean, it's, like if you have trouble, within Australia, there's generally places that you can go to go get food
Lots.
and
Yeah.
places to, maybe get shelter or, I mean, if you're homeless, there's plenty of places to go crash.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Tweed River, one of them, all the
Yeah.
camps out there.
That would be safe, or you just, if you really need to, you can go, scrounge in some bins and get some
Oh,
food.
100%.
Or get leftovers from, people not eating on their plates at a restaurant or something
Yep.
like that. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something you could do. Well, that's what I would think about anyway. But
Already
in
got
that
planned out.
situation, there's no cafes around. There's no
No, there's
tourists,
nothing.
you can't go hide anywhere. You're in the fucking middle of nowhere, in the desert sort of thing.
Yeah.
Probably your kids probably maybe close to starvation.
I mean, it happens.
It
Yeah.
definitely happens. But that's, one big one that I remember seeing. I mean, I've seen heaps of stuff like that in some of the countries that we've been to, but that's, the one that sticks in my mind the most.
Yeah.
If I could have helped that person, I would have.
I
but,
mean, yeah, probably didn't have anything that you could have.
I mean, probably, I don't know. And I wasn't driving the car at the time, and
Just flash by.
yeah, exactly. So, but again, I always think about that lady.
Yeah, she's helping you still to this day.
I hope she's doing well and her family.
Flourishing.
Yeah.
Kids are
I
surviving.
really do.
Hold your booty, hey? That's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
What else we got? And that's pretty much most of it. Before I kind of wrap up and ask where people can find you, is there anything else you want to add, want to mention? Jamie's the best. Wow, you go, girl.
Yeah. Who?
Okay.
Never heard of her.
She doesn't exist. She's a facade.
No, I don't know.
got
Not
the
really.
dog.
I think if you need help training a dog, give us a buzz.
All right, we'll segue into that. So, where can people find you? We're talking socials. We're talking suburbs.
Socials, what do we got? So we're in the Gold Coast, Australia, close to Brisbane, southeast Queensland.
Where's our headquarters located?
Our headquarters is at Glen Eagle, which is close to Bow Desert. Hour from Goldie, hour from Brisbane. Socials, we've got a lot now. So we've got
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. TikTok's a bit
We do
slow.
have TikTok.
Don't look at it yet.
I'm not a big bloody TikTok person, but
He's
I'm
not
just
an
putting our
influencer.
videos on there. I'm not a fucking influencer. I wish someone could just do all that shit for me. And look, I'm not making these videos to get fucking follows and likes and all this sort of
No,
shit.
they're very
I
useful.
really couldn't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
I mean, we are close to 10,000. I think even
Just
once
go
we get to
follow
that, I don't really care.
Just a
But
little
it is cool that we're
milestone.
getting, a bit of traction with that. But I make these videos to all these little hot tips that I learn
Yep.
to pass on to other people that they don't think
And
about.
it's a little bit of lifestyle too, like especially when we're doing vlog style stuff, people just get a little insight into what we kind of get to do for a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Which some of it's really fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
when we're out at daycare and there's just dogs fobbing about,
Yeah.
jumping in the dam.
But I do like the comments that or the messages or the people that, hey, I love watching your videos. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, really? People watch them?
Like, thanks.
So people obviously do get something out of it.
Or even the inquiries we get. I've had a few that are like, I'll mention my name. They're like, yeah, I know you from YouTube. I'm like, excuse you?
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Or they know our dogs more than us.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
dude's got his own YouTube not
yeah,
Instagram
Do
though.
Daily. Yeah, he's got his own YouTube. But yeah, I mean, people are watching him, and that's sort of why I'm doing it. You know, I don't really want to do any controversial comments on other people's videos like they do, and it's not me.
We don't need to bash people to get stuff out there.
I'm not here to hack on other people, and you know, like I say to you guys, we don't want to hack on other organisations. We just do our thing and worry about ourselves.
Yep, keep helping dogs.
If we do that, then we're just going to keep doing well like we are.
100%.
Because you know we are doing pretty good and we're busy and
we're very busy.
Pretty busy, and we've got a pretty good reputation.
Yep. A lot of word of mouth.
And you know we've got a lot of 5-star reviews.
We do. Some would say probably the most.
And yeah, I think we're doing good. We just keep doing what we're doing.
Definitely. Some big things on the horizon with that too.
Yeah, I've got many more goals I want to achieve in the future. We've only sort of just begun.
Well, how many years has Master of Puppies been open? Since, what did you say, 20...
Let's say 2015. Let's say 2015.
Cool. So really not that long. And, you know, even in the last year or two, we've had, you know, like Tom Davis, like people from America coming over to our headquarters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first Hollybee years was me just doing it by myself, like in Sydney.
Yeah.
You know, and
so it's changed locations a few times.
Changed locations a couple of times now. But now I've got the headquarters, and then, you know, people are seeing that and wanting to come out and see that, and then obviously the daycare and
it's awesome.
The privates and the groups and all that sort of stuff. All that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, hopefully one day we can get a bigger commercial place. That's my goal.
Yep.
A little bit closer to the Goldie and Rizzy.
Yep.
So we can attract even more people. So
help all the puppies. Mm-hmm. All right then.
Uh-oh.
Please go ahead and list the socials that we have so people can find us.
Master Puppies.
Yep. Like what they are what they can type in and find.
So Master of Puppies HQ, Master of Puppies Brisbane, Master of Puppies Logan.
Yep.
Will Leave No Dogs Behind. That's my personal one.
Yep.
Do Daily YouTube.
Yep.
Master of Puppies YouTube.
Website.
masterofpuppies.com.au.
Yep.
Master of Puppies TikTok. And Master of Puppies Facebook. That's pretty much it, because I don't have time to do any more. I know there's like...
Did you get doggy daycare deployments?
Doggy daycare deployments!
Gotcha, Vidge! It's probably because I'm managing.
Doggy daycare deployments. I mean, there's so many other bloody socials. It's
a lot to keep up with, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It would take too much time.
No.
I need dog to train, you know, so...
And I mean, you are kind of moving more into a mentor role versus being on, you know, just the only person dog training. Now you have a little bit of a team to kind of take that, and you can start to mentor people and go into that space where you are content creating and reaching more people. So
yeah, look, at those videos, sometimes they take a little while to do because I want to make sure they're proper, you know, I'm getting my point across and I'm not throwing out garbage.
And doing cool green screens.
Doing a bit of homework.
Yeah.
Before I just, you know, talk random shit and just throw it out there. Because I want people to get things out of it. That's the big one.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be pushing bullshit and just stupid funny videos or stuff like that.
No.
It's more...
No TikTok dances out here.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of those. I mean, you can, but I'm not...
I'm good.
I'm not doing that sort of stuff to get liked. Again, it's not about that for me. It's just about getting it out there and showing what we're about.
Yep. Love that.
Yep.
Beautiful. No other plugs that you can think of for socials?
No, I was just going to say, if you have anything upcoming that you want to shout out or mention.
We don't really, do we? No seminars.
Or, you know, keep an eye out sort of thing, if there's nothing like that.
No, look, we are...
We're pretty low-key at the beginning of the year.
We do have a little bit of stuff going on with the local council because one of our friendly neighbours has complained a couple of times about...
We won't mention any names.
Nothing. But we're just going through some stuff at the council at the moment. So once all that's pushed through and it's over and done with, then I will definitely be pushing hard for a lot more seminars and more
events.
People to come and do their seminars here, like more international
100%.
style people and some other good trainers around Australia. But until then,
we're just laying low.
We're just doing our thing and just complying and just trying to do the right thing. So we've had a complaint with too many cars in our car park, Exactly. I'm thinking what you're thinking. All right. When I heard it, I'm like,
Dumb.
are you fucking kidding me? It's a car park. Our place used to be a vet. They had cars coming here all the time.
The exact same setup.
And then there was one which was bullshit. It was about our dogs barking. Yeah, we've got dogs, and sometimes they bark.
But any of our clients who've come, they see the daycare and they're like, whoa, I didn't even realize it was there.
Yeah, we don't let our
Never.
dogs just bark for no reason.
No.
We are on top of them all the time and keeping on top of their behaviours if they get too excited or we don't let them use spark or anything like that. So it's just someone having complaints. She's got nothing better to do in her life than to try and
Be a
stuff people
troll.
over.
Her and Kimmy would be best friends.
Yeah, and what I've heard from a lot of the neighbours that know her really well is they've had problems with her over the years as well.
Yeah.
So she's just someone that has nothing better to do in her life than to just stuff with other people.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. She actually one of her friends is in the council and obviously gives her all the information as well. So.
Shout out Cena Grimm.
Yeah, thank you guys. So we're just going through the process. So once it's done,
No, please help us though.
then we'll be pushing a lot harder for. It's all about helping the community and their dogs.
All we're trying to do is help.
That's all it is. It's all it is.
But hopefully we have some merch up and coming when that's all over, because a lot of people.
We're putting a lot of money into this
people-
council, which sucks. It
is what it is.
Nearly $4,000 for a traffic
Audit,
which is bullshit.
very expensive audit.
Yeah. So and that's just one thing. We've done a few things now. Or actually, even to put an application, it was like $14,000.
Ridiculous.
Just to put an application in.
Could have bought so much equipment with that.
Yeah, and they're really, getting on top of things. So anyway,
that's
another story.
Whatever her name is, I'm not even going to mention her name, but.
Yeah, I don't care. We know who you are.
They know where to find you. Go and follow masterofpuppies.hq. Get him to his 10,000. What are you, 100 off?
Less now, yeah.
It's getting close. So I am very happy that I finally got Will here for this because, a lot of people have requested to kind of listen to his story a bit. And obviously he likes a chat.
There's a lot more to it. I could have chatted all day, but,
Yeah, he's got little ones to pick up, so we can't be chatting all day. But maybe we'll get him back on in the future if there's a lot of, demand for it. I'm assuming there will be. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Glad to be
Cooper.
here. Yeah, thank you, Cooper.
He's like, I hate this. But that's pretty much it.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for existing.
I feel like I'm on Joe Rogan podcast.
I'm not bald, but it'll do.
I'm not saying you're Joe Rogan.
Jamie Rogan.
Need some cigars now.
Where's the whiskey? A decanter.